and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you're going to have to register on the website, but once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephants, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Hi, I'm Mike Anderson, and I come to you live every day from Eco Training Pridelands Conservancy in South Africa. The wild animal I think is most underrated. I think buffaloes are the most underrated. They're so tenacious and ferocious, and also very, very protective of each other, which I find incredible. You know, sometimes people think of the big five, they just think of lions and leopards and other big animals, but I think buffaloes are pretty underrated.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our sunset safari. Here we have a beautiful elephant bull that is not really giving us a chance. He's moving away from us, but hopefully he'll walk towards us. It's warm. I'm happy. I'm sure you are. I'm glad to start off with an elephant bull. So jump on board, grab your binoculars, grab a pen and paper to take down some information for your live safari through the African bush. A great, beautiful scene here out in quarantine, and only gets better by the presence of that big bull. Now, speaking of that big bull, I've got to move forward so that we can see him. Hi, everyone. It's me, Trishala. I've got Davy on camera, and we are on an adventure with all of you this afternoon. Our adventure starts with this lovely big bull. He's moving quite a bit. I just see his bottom now. We might be able to get a final view just as we take that turn there. Look at that scene. Stunning. And remember, this is your live safari. It's yours. So use that hashtag WildEarth or @FC on the YouTube's chat stream. Ooh, it looks like this might be our best view. You can also go to our website and sign up to use our question box, and then also kids questions at wildearth.tv for our under 18s. And he is gone again. It's the magic disappearing elephant bull, everybody. Just see. Nope. He's gone further in. That's just testament to how bushy it is at the moment out here on quarantine. And a big, oh, there he's out again, Darby. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Darby. He really is missioning about. Oh, look at that. Finally, we got to see just how big and beautiful he is. All the elephants are just stuffing their mouths since I've seen them, and there's a gust of wind here. Because everything is just so lush. And they're just piling it in. Look at that. Gorgeous. Well, at least we have a bit of a breeze, more than yesterday, because the weather is pretty much the same. It's still quite warm, 31 degrees Celsius, 88 degrees Fahrenheit here in Djuma. Which means that waterholes are going to be a great place to start, especially at this time of the afternoon. Well, he's moved on, so let us too. Now, waterhole, yes, but I'm going to be heading to Chitwa. Big, massive dam there. See what we can find. And we know that Thandi and Cub were in that area as well. So hopefully we'll be able to catch up with some swimming ellies on one side and Thandi and Cub on the other. Wouldn't that be spectacular? I think so. Oh, let's first say good afternoon to these ladies and just a few gentlemen. Stunners. I bet they're all feeling a lot more comfortable this afternoon than they were feeling last night. When we drove past camp, when all the commotion was happening with Tlalambe and Shidulu, all the Impala were just not having a good evening. All bunched together, a whole lot of them, maybe even 100, if not more. Trying to keep away from the leopards here in quarantine. Now they look like they're out for a family picnic, just enjoying the weather and the grass and vegetation out here on quarantine. Everyone says they look quite relaxed. Yes, they do. They look very relaxed. A bit of grooming, some lying down and chewing their cud, some eating. That is a relaxed impala. Another thing that's worth following up on is on our way back from camp this morning. On our way back to camp this morning from the wild dog site, or from Kara sighting, we saw another leopard run across the road into some really thick bush. It's possibly a young male that's a little skittish, but it was quite further out in front of me, so I didn't get to see any distinct markings except that it was not a big leopard. So also worth a follow-up. But we're going to start with Chitwa. It's quite a long drive to Chitwa, so we're going to get going. And while we head off in the direction of that big beautiful dam and hopefully Tandy and Cub, let's send you over to have a look at the weather at all of our different locations.
Well, it's partly cloudy but quite warm here this afternoon. There's very little air to speak of in terms of wind, so quite hot out in the sun. My name is Tristan. On camera I've got Impala this afternoon, and I'm going very, very slowly, as you can see. Not because, well, we're worried about anything, but because Trishala had a brief visual of a leopard this morning running across this road, and she said she couldn't see if it was a male or a female, but there are two young males around at the moment that are very shy. One is the young male that Lauren has had on camera. I've seen it also in Buffalo's Hook. Really nice little leopard, but quite shy. And the other one is a leopard by the name of Shimungwe. Now, Shimungwe comes from Londolozi and is from quite a famous lineage there. The Vomba female is a famous kind of leopard in the Londolozi. So, and he also be around, seen on the Mambili a few days ago. But Trish said all she saw was a leopard running across the road. And then obviously with this thick grass, she couldn't find it again. So I'm just driving slowly here, just checking any trees, any sort of elevated areas in case this leopard is maybe somewhere here. So far, no sign of anything. I checked kind of where Trish explained it to me, that this cat had crossed the road. It's a really difficult area. So check here, and then from there, I'm going to go and follow up on the dogs a little bit later. In the meantime, though, let's send you across to Stephen, who's on Pridelands, and see what he's going to get up to this afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Pridelands Conservancy here with Eco Training. And a beautiful giraffe. Hello, my name is Steve Falconbridge, joined by Johan on camera. And as always, we are blessed and excited to have you with us on this wonderful afternoon where the weather is balmy and warm. So we're going to be moving from shade to shade, just like our little family or association of giraffes is doing. It is 32 degrees Celsius, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity could be cut with a knife, more like a cake lever. In fact, it is quite balmy, but our giraffe, goodness, how interesting is that? We don't see any of them on Djuma, and that is an umbrella thorn that it is feeding on. The Acacia tortilis subspecies heterocarpa. That is because the plant itself has got two different types of thorns on it. It's got two straight and two hooked thorns. So a very, very cool tree. It's a very typical sort of savanna tree that you've seen all over the world. That sort of umbrella-shaped There is another one hiding over there. Maybe we go back to the first fellow that's busy eating that one. And the typical umbrella-shaped acacia that you've seen on many TV shows and all over the world, the typical sort of FNB logo, that flat-topped acacia, also known as the umbrella thorn. And the reason it grows the way it grows is to try and prevent itself being eaten by animals like this. So it grows up into sort of a straight umbrella, and then it branches out into a very flat top. So herbivores can't really get at it from the bottom, and they have to just nibble at it from the edges. But it doesn't happen to all of the trees. You see it on a couple. I saw one the other day that was a beautiful example of the umbrella thorn. But they don't all look like that, and they're quite common. Ooh, we've got another fellow about to join from the left. It's an association of giraffes this afternoon, everybody. He's also going to have a little taste. Oh, look how much bigger he is than she is. Now, even though it's got two types of thorns, the straight and the hooked, the giraffe just take their nimble lips and their very powerful leather-like tongue, and they just eat what they want, because that's what giraffes do, everybody. They are designed to eat thorns and around the thorns, and, well, the tastiest bits are right up there for them. Anyway, we're going to probably stay with the giraffe for a moment longer while we send you over to say good day to Tswalu Kalahari.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the Kalahari. Look at this beautiful antelope we've just found here at this waterhole. So gorgeous seeing these red hartebeest in this location. We've decided to travel a bit east this afternoon, and the team in the Kalahari this afternoon, I'm Johan, and behind the camera is Morgan. We will be your show in the Kalahari this afternoon. So we have just come up to this gorgeous, beautiful waterhole in this area, and just taking you quickly back to that red hartebeest that we're seeing over there. It is so beautiful seeing these guys. It's still, as you can see, the light is very sharp, and look at that. It looks like an Egyptian goose actually just walking past them there as well. But seeing this environment and having such a beautiful big waterhole in this area, it's amazing seeing such a nice cluster of animals actually coming through in this environment, having these red hartebeest mixed up with lots more in front, which will be taking a drive a bit forward towards those other animals as well, just to add up to the story as well. It's quite beautiful actually seeing this. So red hartebeest on the one hand is quite selective grazers, as I've mentioned, and well, 2 days ago, thinking about how these animals come together in an area, specifically looking at typical sweet grass species in a given environment. So I see there's a couple of zebra in the area in front, and we'll be taking a drive, as I mentioned, a bit further forward to have a look at them as well. But linking the hartebeest, as you look at it, it's quite interesting, as I've mentioned, being a selective grazer. They often get followed by zebra, being a bulk grazer. So we're going to just take a slow drive, actually forward, just to have a look at the area here. Now, as I've mentioned, we come a bit further east onto the reserve this evening, as we are just looking at a different location as well for the afternoon. Beautiful. There's just animals all over the show. So talking about the red hartebeest and even the wildebeest that we're looking at coming through in this particular area and areas as it is, you'll see those guys are obviously indicator species to the bulk grazers in given areas and so on. So as you look at this environment, it even looks like there's a wildebeest calf coming through here in this point, and a springbuck as well. So it truly comes down to these selective grazers indicating good sweet grass species to a certain environment. So the zebra, being a bulk grazer, then look at these selective grazers in a given environment, and they would say then, okay, well, you know what, there's good food resources in an area like that, then you would get to a situation that they will join each other up. Now, I want you to think about wildlife programs that you might have watched on TV before or seen on documentaries before whatsoever. You always find either red hartebeest and zebra, or blue wildebeest, or the brindled canoe in further north into West Africa, in Tanzania and Kenya, in those areas. So you typically get these situations happening where you get these nice combinations. But so interesting to see plains zebra, something completely different from a different point of view, seeing plains zebra in the Kalahari as well. Now we even got 2 species of zebra in the Kalahari. These ones, which is the common species of zebra in Africa, the plains zebra, and then you get the Hartmann's mountain zebra in these mountains of the Koranenberg mountain range in this area. And so those zebra species are looking very different as opposed to these guys. So these ones you'll see they've got a black, white, shadow, white, black stripe formation, whereas you're looking at the Hartmann's mountain zebra that has actually a very distinctive compressed striping formation, and that is actually just black, white, black, white, black, white as it comes through. Yes, look at that beautiful, gorgeous animal, just in such a good condition, actually just shaking that mane apart as you're looking at it. But yeah, very interesting talking about the mane, as that zebra was just shaking it from one side to another. Zebras, interestingly enough, in all different environments, you could actually get them basically seeing, looking at their physical health in certain areas, looking at the mane itself, the mane being a dead giveaway of an animal's condition of zebras. So they've got a gland at the back of their neck that would basically affect the stance of the mane of a zebra. And the moment the animal goes feeling a bit ill or sick or whatsoever, gets to a point that the mane could actually then, are affected, the sickness affecting the gland and that affecting the stance of the mane. The moment the mane will flop down, that is quite interesting, that it's an indication the animal is not feeling too well. And as you can see, obviously that mane is standing straight up. And such a beautiful foal we're actually having in this condition, in this area where there's so much good grazing value currently in the green Kalahari. So coming back to the Hartmann's mountain zebra, you'll see their stripes is also connecting just to the side of the belly, whereas these guys have got black and white stripes connecting to the bottom of the belly. So beautiful. And there's our perfect temporary association, where a temporary community is formed together here by selective grazers becoming indicator species to bulk grazers, and at the end of the day having all these different antelope as well as the zebra as well as different animals combining up together. It pretty much comes down to that factor. Safety numbers is obviously ruling and regulating big time in this formation as it is. And obviously in an area where you got so many different predators around and whatsoever, it comes down to that situation that these animals would have to do this type of communities that is quite temporarily working out in a formation that they do it for safety purposes as it is. So just to quickly show you in the book here, it'll give you a bit of an example of what this different zebra species look like. So obviously this is the plains zebra that we're having here, that you can see here on the side, with that typical shadow stripe that comes through between the two between the shadow stripe between the two white stripes as it is. And then if we look at the typical situation now, there's not a perfect picture of a Hartmann's mountain zebra here, but this little tiny picture here, that is where you can see the stripe stops on the sides of the belly as they are more appearing in the mountain sections of the Koranenberg areas as it is. But a very cool striping formation on those zebra species. Now we've got 3 zebra species in the Kalahari as it is, in South Africa. And so those 3 zebra species are basically the Hartmann's mountain zebra. And then you get a species south of the Orange River in towards the Western Cape Town region. And that is basically the Cape Mountain zebra. These are the plains zebra as it is. Hartmann's mountain zebra, plains zebra, Cape Mountain zebra. But yeah, so cool. I just want to take a slight bit of a drive, a bit forward here, because I did see a bit more animals actually coming through in this position. Now obviously, still being quite a hot day, and almost, I want to say, still in the peak heat of the afternoon, you're actually in a situation where there's so much So just in that situation that you're having so much animals coming together at this heat time of the day where lots of predators are actually sleeping in the middle of the day, we're going to send you over to another gorgeous destination.
Good afternoon and welcome to andBeyond Ngala, where this afternoon we're looking at a beautiful green pasture with lots of general game, impala, zebra, some giraffes off in the distance, and a leopard-faced vulture way at the back on the dead tree. And there's a slight breeze going this afternoon. All the animals are out in the open, and they are just having a feed. Today is extremely hot here at Ngala, and because of that, I think the animals are using this breeze to cool down a little bit. See the patches that they're feeding seems to be a little bit shorter than the areas closer to us. Now I'm Yapi, and behind the camera we've got Owen, and we set out this afternoon to try and see if we can find some general game, especially giraffe, and we have. Now, if I look at that giraffe at the moment, I can see the white behind the ears are clearly lit up because of the sun shining right on them. And with a beautiful green background, it kind of stands out quite clearly. Any other giraffes that might be within this area will more than likely see that from far away, and might even move over to come and inspect and see what the other giraffes are doing. Now the nice thing about this situation is we can clearly see the different animals feeding in different areas as to what their diet requires. The impala, the wildebeest, and the zebra are out feeding on the shorter grasses, and then the giraffes are right on the edge feeding on the knob thorns. And there's a lot of food around at the moment, and therefore a lot of animals congregate in this area.
How insane is that animal?
This is out of this world. Fantastic. Good, Mama.
Wow, what a way to start off.
It's just such an incredible privilege to be out here. It just keeps on delivering.
There you go, there you go. Heart is pumping right now.
3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Look at this, everybody. We've got a live kill.
The cock's holding the tail. It's holding tight. Lucky wildebeest.
There's nowhere to go. This is a disaster in the making.
This is the first leucistic zebra I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, here comes a lion. Run, little guy. Go on.
Something that I have never seen before in my entire life that you are now watching live.
My heart is in my mouth, everybody.
Look at this. It's gonna make it. It's going, it's going.
This is just too magical. Hi, little guys. That's great, isn't it?
lizard just pretended to be dead. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Look at that. Scuba Steve has got a friend.
You've got a friend in me. It couldn't be a better morning. This is just too special.
Oh my goodness, we've got a turtle.
How epic is the fact that we're coming to you live on the Chobe River? It's the most incredible feeling to be here. This is live and we're in Rwanda. This is a very, very different adventure, charged with emotion.
Look at that little zebra about to be born. There's the head. Oh, you clever mare. Well done.
I did not think I would ever face my fears like this.
Welcome back to Pridelands, everybody, where our giraffes are still about feeding. Now this fellow has moved over to a knobthorn. I saw him walking and I anticipated him moving to the knobthorn. He walked around a big dead tree to get there, but he's now stuck his head in there. And now the knobthorn doesn't have the straight and hooked thorns. It's just got a pair of very dangerous backward slanting thorns, which are designed to prevent animals from eating. But as we know, just because people have got weapons doesn't mean they're immune to attack. We have weapons to defend ourselves, and defense and the arms race is an ongoing battle in the animal plant kingdom. And the knobthorn that has been conveniently pushed over there, most likely by an elephant, is still alive. And all sorts of other animals can feed at it now, so the giraffe doesn't really need to be sticking his head right down to the bottom, but that is the beauty about being a giraffe. First of all, that long neck can help him to stick his head all the way in there with the long face. He can also feed right down to the level of a bushbuck or an impala, and then right up to the top of the tree. So that's why we never see these animals doing badly in the drought conditions. It's also just hiding a little bit there behind the bush. Now everybody, I can tell you with absolute certainty that there's no tackling a knobthorn without bleeding. Now the giraffe is able to just pick and rip and take whatever leaves it wants with its tongue and its lips. Oh, here we go. Beautiful. Long, dark tongue and prehensile lips without ever seeing it bleed. I find that amazing. It's almost like blacksmiths or metal workers work with those welding gloves. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're very, very, very heavy-duty gloves, and they're designed to protect against heat. The giraffe's lips and tongue are designed in a way that are sort of immune. You could probably tackle a knobthorn with a pair of welder's gloves, and you probably wouldn't get injured. But welder's gloves, if you've ever tried to wear them before, aren't very nimble when it comes to doing anything. So the giraffe have got the dexterity to still move their lips, but yet still the strong sort of inability for it to be injured, which I find just absolutely phenomenal. Now he's hiding and feeding on a purple pod terminalia, which doesn't have any thorns of any kind. Or is he? Let's see, there's actually a little creeper growing in there. Looks like, oh, he's going for the creeper. He's going for the creeper. Have a look at the little green shoots that he's pulling out there. There's a vine growing through. The Kaitido giraffe don't have territories. We call their sort of grouping, we call a loose association. So you'll get groups of males, groups of females, mixed groups together. There's no real sort of, there's no territory at all. They've got a home range, which means they move in response to food. They will fight over females, of course. Males will have quite fierce competition over females, but that's when they meet a female in estrus, and that could be anywhere on their home range. Very loosely associated. And we say that because you sometimes don't find the same group together. You might have females with their offspring staying together for a period of time, but males come and go, females and males come and go. There's no real sort of grouping. And that is the perfect camouflage behind that tree, isn't it? a perfect camouflage. He's like, what are you talking about? Over to another tree and another knob thorn. Now, I think, Johan, let me just move forward a meter for you and we'll get a perfect gap. I don't mind sitting in the sun. Always going to move. Let's just wait. See where he goes to. Didn't quite like the taste of that knob thorn. So we'd prefer the knob thorn behind. Yeah, that's the knob thorn that he wants. So you see how low down he's able to feed. That's probably about my chest height there. Maybe a little bit more like my head height. I'm not that tall. We can go even further down, and that neck allows the giraffe to feed and deep in the bush, high up, and also very low down, and incredible amounts of muscle required to pull the neck down. And we've discussed this at length before, but that position you see the head in now is a natural sort of ligament on the back that keeps it there. Requires no effort for the giraffe to keep its head up. You know, when you're sort of a little bit tired at work and you start nodding forward, it's because you actually required energy and awareness to keep your head up. Whereas a giraffe's head naturally stays up like that because of the ligament. If it wants to push its head down, it physically has to contract all the muscles in its neck to do so. That's why when you ever find giraffe lying down, they sit in there with their head pretty much straight up in the air. Okay, just got a view of him, but there's another one coming toward. I don't know if we're going to see it. They're all quite well hidden. That's a marvelous view, though, of its head. Now, you don't think them to be that camouflaged, everybody, until they move into the thickets. And you wouldn't believe that an enormous animal is suddenly standing there, hidden. And often you don't see them until you stop. And then you see one, and then two, and then three, and then the swish of the tail. And he's going to come out into the open. No, he's turned. Okay, well, let us reposition so that we can get another view of some of these other giraffe because, oh, he's coming out again. He's like, I'm not done yet. Good work. Seedak, they've probably learned what they can and can't feed on, but it's probably a lot to do with smell. But I think once they also taste a plant, they know whether they like it or not. But they recognize plants visually. Some people actually say that giraffe are capable of seeing in different spectrums. I've heard that giraffe can actually see reds. So I think they actually identify plants because you'll see them moving from one acacia to the next. So they actually go, oh, there's one, there's one, there's one. And then they'll taste it and go, no, that one's a bit bitter. Because these plants, when they get fed on regularly, actually increase their tannin. And so giraffe will taste the bitterness and will avoid it. There is a giraffe behind that bush, I promise. Let me reposition. We've done so well in the shade. Oh, that was moving. We've done so well in the shades, yeah, but I think it's time, and that we move. When it's hot like this, everybody, a good guide positions his guests in a shady spot for as long as possible, if the viewing is still viewable. And then, when the viewing becomes poor, he repositions and will sacrifice himself to the elements, as long as the viewer, the guests, are in the shade. In this case, the camera with Johan. So hopefully you're all feeling nice and cool back home. We're just going to pull up, get you another view of this fellow over here. He's going to move into the gap. Let's just try and reposition. So two boys and one girl. There doesn't seem to be too much going on with regards to them, with regards to any sexual interest. Okay, well, we're not doing a very good job. As I said, they are remarkably camouflaged. think that gap over there, Johan, will that work for you? So what we're doing right now, everybody, is what early naturalists would have done and observed feeding behavior. It's a very passive way of observing what giraffe feed on. So CDAC wanted to know, how do giraffe know? Well, they taste it, like that giraffe there is busy feeding on a knob, not a knob thorn, a buffalo thorn, which has got a straight thorn and a backward facing thorn. So they love thorny plants, because thorny plants have actually got the thorns to protect them against herbivory. But as the thorns have evolved, so the lips and tongue of the giraffe have evolved. So we talk about the arms race. It's all about, if you think about World War I and then World War II, as one country got a better tank, another one got a better tank, and as one got a better this, they got a better that. So constant competition. No one ever outcompetes the other. It's always in balance. Always in balance. You know, the giraffe never destroys the tree. They always feed in it to a point and they move off. Feed in it to a point and they move off. So we're doing some very passive research and observing what plants the giraffe feed on. And so we've seen knob thorn, umbrella thorn, buffalo thorn, and then a terminalia. So we're getting a little bit of a picture of the trees that they like. But we're going to send you over to my very good friend Trishala, who's just down the road, should I say, over in Djuma.
Hello, yes. A good friend of Steve's, Trish here. We are trying to see if we can find Thandi and her cub. So we know it was in this general area, but through the heat of the day, they very well may have moved to find some nice shade. It's also quite a sensitive soil area, so I'm trying to be careful. In fact, I'd like to get up quickly, or with as much sensitivity as possible, and then have a good look from the top. But there's so many spots that she and Maribs could be hiding in. Thanks for looking for me, guys. You have a good look on that bank. I'm gonna have a good look on this bank. It is just a wonderful way to start off an afternoon, to be following up on Thandi and cub. Oh, hold on. See, the problem with the long grass is that you also can't see if there's a ditch. And we don't want to fall in a ditch, do we? Okay, let's have a look here. Ah, I see. Nat, you'd like to know if they travel far during the day. No. They'll do most of their travel. Oh, look at this. Look at this. They'll do most of their travel when they're, let's just have a look here for a little bit, when it's cooler. In the evenings and the early mornings. Look at this, it's Chitwa waterfall, everybody. It's where the overflow comes down into this drainage. Oh, beautiful. The sound. Gorgeous. You know, when I see things like this, I think, imagine ancient times, people in this area seeing a waterfall like this, playing in it, and also knowing that there's a leopard nearby, or there could be anything nearby. You're completely in the wild. How ridiculous is that? Absolutely awesome. Anyway, let's continue to just move around. We'll probably get a better view of the Chitwa waterfall. The newest addition to Chitwa. Okay. Tracks end here. Let's have a look. Katie, you'd like to know how often a mother leopard will move with her cub? Very often. In our experience here, we've seen Thandi move her cub several times in a day, because sometimes if she's moving a long distance, maybe she's moving from Torchwood to, excuse my antenna, she's wearing a ditch, so give it some height. We've seen her move it from Torchwood to all the way to Djuma, and when she does that, she makes stops along the way, and she'll stash the cub. She used to stash the cub in the drainage by Ngala Road South, and then stash the cub in the Mulwati as she moves along. So she keeps moving the cub. So it could be multiple times in a day, and it also could be once in 3 days. Maybe she won't move the cub until she has a kill or something there, or she makes a kill and then she brings a kill to the cub if it's not too far away. So tempting to want to get up. And have a look, but this is as far as I'm going to be getting up to have a look, especially with Thandi. Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult to find them here. But we're going to be looking around, maybe just spend a little bit more time just having a look around. All right, I'm going to send you over to my friend Steve, who has some birds.
Thanks, Trish. Well, a bird we often find on our giraffe here is a small group of red-billed oxpeckers. And what's interesting is there's 3 of them. Sorry about that. There are 3 of them, and there's a small little cavity there just by where the one just flew off from. Now, they are cavity nesters. You see the one on the bottom left is poking its head into the hole. And they are known to be cooperative breeders as well as monogamous. So it's the first time I've seen more than 3 or 3 together feeding, doing something in a cavity, and each of them in turn has taken it to move forward and to do something inside the little hole there. Cooperative breeding with incubation of 12 to 14 days in a little cavity inside the tree. That's an old leadwood that's probably stood there for a very long time, and they probably got lots and lots of ticks in their belly, and they're just feeding one at a time or removing little bits. Maybe even there's a female in there on the nest they're feeding. There we go. See, the other one's come out. Now it's that one's turn to feed. So interesting. Third one lined up. So that cavity, there we go. 3 of them. How splendid. Now, it'd be known to also steal fur off the backs of animals to line the nest with. Obviously, you've got to make your bed nice and comfortable if you can. Why not? You're already picking ticks off them, eating their blood, I'm sure. A bit of hair won't go amiss. Very nice. So, a red-billed oxpecker nest. Now, the most common of the 2, the red-billed versus the yellow-billed. And it's a call that we always listen for because they often indicate herbivores. And the reason I actually stopped is because I could hear one chirping. I was looking around. There was activity of a lone buffalo bull in this area this morning. So I thought maybe there was a buffalo, but then we investigated and found the nest quite high up in the tree, in fact. But a beautiful dead leadwood. Well, actually, it's still living, but parts of it are dead. And who knows how many broods that tree There we go. Yeah. So everyone, you'll often find them in the early morning doing something like this, waiting for animals to come to a watering hole to feed. Look how large that leadwood is. You often find them in the early morning doing so, or flying around. It's very hard to get them flying around on camera. It's a very characteristic way that they fly around. And they often will fly down and bomb onto an animal. That's a very good way of finding animals. But when they breed, you often find them on trees. Where they're nesting. I've never seen 3 together like this going in and out of what's clearly a cavity there, a natural cavity. It's not created, it's impossible for a barber to have created, or woodpecker to have created that cavity in that leadwood tree. But a natural little fissure that's formed. And anywhere from, as I said, 2 to 5 eggs. And they can be multi-brooded in a season, up to 3 broods in one season, which is pretty cool. And on a season like this, when there's lots and lots of insects around, because they don't only feed on ticks, they also do a little bit of hawking, feed on certain insects, but we noticeably only really find them feeding on ticks. As with many of our birds, we saw some francolin this morning with a new clutch running around. Obviously it wasn't the eggs running around, some new chicks that had hatched. The hornbills might breed again, I'm not sure, but many of the smaller birds will definitely breed again. I doubt any of the major migratory birds will breed, though, a second time, but it's not impossible. These fellows are not going anywhere. Very good. Okay, well, we're going to carry on, see what else we can find on our search this afternoon. We're going to send you again over to Tswalu Kalahari.
Welcome back to the Kalahari, folks. See this beautiful, beautiful treetop that we've just driven past here. And as we came past, I said to Morgan, yo, we got to just show them what this looks like, because this is quite interesting. Seeing this tree and how gorgeously beautiful, like velvety grayish the leaves are in this particular tree. It's called a silver cluster leaf tree. Now this tree, and why I say it's so interesting to see this tree here, is because this tree you find in the drainage line and seep lines in the Kruger Park area itself, also quite a bit and so on. But seeing the clusters itself on it, that is where the name actually comes from, with the silvery type of shiny bits and pieces that you see on the leaf itself. And then the clusters coming off together. Now, just to show you a bit on a bit of an example that I've taken off the tree here a bit, it's quite interesting seeing the actual clusters of, well, on a stem of plants, you get something called a petiole and a petiolule that comes from an internode and a node. And that's that little growth section that you see coming off there. And then from there, leaves will disperse off into their growth formation. So you get like a compounded leaf structure formation that grows continuously opposite of each other from the stem, from the petioles and the nodes and so on. But looking at this particular structure, look at that gorgeous, stunning coloration on that. Now, what makes this tree so interesting and what makes it so fascinating to the Kalahari? I mean, yes, you don't see them a lot out here, but you do see them in on the tops of dunes, or again in drainage lines on the edges of hills in this environment. So if you look at this particular structure of these leaves, and in this area, you're looking at a tree that was used once again, because they stand out like icons on the, and very iconically on top of dune tops as it is in certain areas. And again, coming back to the Bushmen, they were utilizing this particular tree quite a lot because it looks so, well, stands out amongst all the other vegetation that looks more or less the same from the acacia woodland formations and so on. So what they did was, the Bushmen, as they discovered this tree, they looked at this tree itself and they looked at the leaves of the tree and then started eating it, see what it tastes like and so on. And they got to the discovery that they actually felt their jaws and their tongue when it's fresh leaves in this time of the year. They discovered that their jaws and the teeth actually went like sort of numb, and it's gotten to a point that they discovered, you know what, if we got rotten teeth, we could most probably remove those teeth and become a bit of a dental situation where they could actually remove those teeth by just helping the jaws to take away a bit of the pain. But furthermore, they discovered, you know what, let's investigate this tree a bit more. And we go to the bark of the tree itself. You could see actually it looks almost the same as the camelthorn tree stem itself, but they stripped the outer bark layer because the Bushmen, being clever natural people, they, well, shall I say naturalists, they discovered that the cambium layer, as they get to the inside inner bark layer, the cambium layer, like I said the other day, being the moisture transport layer of the tree, they discovered if they strip the cambium layer of this tree, they could make like strings, for typical strings like ropes, for instance. And I've mentioned something about it the other day, where raisin bushes is always close to wherever you find these silver cluster leaf trees, and then they put two and two together, seen the sharp straight stems on the raisin bushes in the area, and that's how they made the bow, as well as the cambium layer being the string for the bow and arrow, as it was. And then they say, well, you know what? There's so much to do with this tree, and that we've actually discovered from this particular point of view. What else? There must be something else in this condition. Then they went and dug out the roots. And so it got to a point that they actually burnt it, and burnt it obviously to ashes. So it got to a situation that they started mixing it with water, like a decoction. They drank it and found out, you know what, this is just a fantastic tree to utilize in this environment. So for stomach aching, they drank the decoctions from ashes of the roots.
Imagine having your own secluded African bush home where you and your friends can enjoy the ultimate safari experience. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, this could become a reality. Tumbeta House is located in the heart of Djuma Private Game Reserve, the home of WildEarth. You could win a chance to stay at this intimate wilderness retreat, offering you the rare and highly sought-after privilege of your own home in the bush. The prize includes 3 nights for 6 people and includes daily game drives, a chance to see the WildEarth camp, and have dinner with one of our guides. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the end of February 2021, and you could be heading to Djuma, the place that we call home. Available dates are limited, so terms and conditions apply.
Being a safari driver requires some serious multitasking ability. You've got to be able to talk, look at the road, steer, and occasionally get the vehicle into the right gear.
Do not crash into any trees.
Oh, that's a dozy.
Just jump into the car and hope for the best, and you'll see where it takes you. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm surprised they're moving as fast as that didn't go well.
Who is the best driver? Well, me, of course, although some of the cam ops might disagree. Hi, my name is Tristan Dix, and I am a guide here at Djuma Private Game Reserve for WildEarth. We love connecting you to the African bush, and we always look forward to all of your questions. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you'll need to register on the website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit a question below the live feed. Catch up with me on WildEarth.
We have a baby pangolin. A baby pangolin. This is off the charts. This animal is about from your fingertips to your elbow. That's the total length of this animal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Well, we're still sitting in the bushes waiting for the wild dogs to come out. Where you see that kind of gap between the 2 green thickets is a pack of 12 wild dogs You wouldn't know it, though, because you cannot see a single one. The reason why I know there's 12 wild dogs there is because we had a moment of much panic in the dogs where there was running up and down and squealing, and we briefly saw 2 dogs running there and then lying down. So the pack is there, but at the moment, this particular area that we're in is on an active seep, and so there is no off-roading here whatsoever. We'll just cause a massive amount of damage or just get stuck, and I don't really want to do either of those. So for now, it's just going to be a patience game and just wait and see when they eventually pop up. Where there's that kind of red tinging of grass is where they are. It's very, very long grass in that area, and even when they were standing up, it was only kind of ears and top of heads that you could see clearly. You can't even see their whole bodies. So we're just going to have to wait and be patient. We know the dogs will eventually get up and move. They're not going to be stationary for the whole afternoon. I don't think they were successful this morning, which means that they're going to be looking and searching for some semblance of food this afternoon. And it's going to be interesting to see which direction they go from here. Most of the prey animals that they are looking for would be back the way they came, or would have to be sort of south towards quarantine. The problem is that there would be no way to follow them from here towards quarantine. The entire area from here that way is basically active seeps that are running at the moment. So you're going to be a tricky afternoon to try and kind of keep up with these guys. And I can't even make out an ear or anything in amongst that grass. But we'll just kind of keep having a little look and see. Maybe we'll get lucky and one will pop up again just now. But for now, patience is the game, and so it sounds like Trish is also playing the patience game and still searching for Tandi and Marips.
I can't see an ear either, but it takes a bit of looking, a lot of looking. At least Tristan knows these wild dogs are there. I've just been looking for some tracks to see if anything's come out, and as far as I could drive, haven't seen anything come out. So they could still very well be in this block, but they could have also moved in the opposite direction. I must say, with the beating sun, all these trees and bushes alongside the road, they're creating area.
Right, so we had a brief visual of one of the dogs now. I can't see it. I'm just going to go back a little bit. Apologies for leaving Trish so abruptly. It sometimes happens that we have a bit of a technical... the bush, I'm just going to go back a little bit further because I saw ears briefly, and I want to just see if I can maybe get a slightly different gap to actually see them. It's not going to work from here. There's a mound that's going to be in our way. Let's see, maybe from here, if we look through that gap with the camera, we might be able to see something. I think I can see something through there. Let me have a little look. Oh, no. That grass is just way too long. Unless they're standing, we've got very little chance. I think I can see one little ear moving underneath those guarri bushes to the back of that frame. So right in the sort of deep part in there, right at the back. I thought I saw a little ear moving at the base of all of that. So just, like I say, I mean, they eventually will get up. It's just a patience game with these guys. We had a little look around for Kara as well, just in case anyone was wondering. No sign of her either, and given where she was, it's possible she went into the Manyeleti, but we'll have a little look and sort of scan around. Marius, you're asking how many dogs are usually in a pack. It's no real average sort of number. It's always different, and packs change in in number all the time. So, denning season creates a situation where dog numbers increase exponentially. You must remember that one dog can have as many as 20 puppies in a single litter. So if you can take a pack, let's say, of 10 dogs, and potentially the one female has 20 and a secondary female has pups, the pack can explode very, very quickly. So pack sizes are often an interesting kind of thing. It's also going to be due to predator numbers that are in the area, so lion, leopard, hyenas, prey availability, water availability, those are all going to dictate pack sizes. But for us here in this part of the world, because we have a high density of impalas, particularly, which is what most of the dogs are eating in this area, duikers, impalas, scrub hares. The pack sizes normally average anywhere from sort of 8 to 12 individuals. It's a pretty kind of common number for the packs that we have in this area. The pack numbers at the moment, in terms of the pack sizes, are actually a little bit higher than they were sort of 10 years ago, and that's because we've had dry conditions through that 10-year period. When you get droughts, pack numbers will increase, and the reason for that is that dogs, and the way that they move and the way that they hunt, will spend a lot of time running through long grass like this. They, in doing so, often run into the likes of lion, leopard, hyena, and so you get quite a high mortality in high rainfall years, whereas in drought conditions, all of this grass, you can imagine removing all of that, and so when the dog is running, it's much easier for it to spot a potential threat before the threat comes near them, and they're able to then evade it. So you always see a better growth period in numbers through the drier years, and in wetter years you see a decrease in the numbers slightly. The thing with wild dogs is numbers are always a tricky one, as I was saying, because of the huge pups or litter sizes. You're getting huge spikes during denning season, and then troughs during the parts where those little ones are starting to run with the pack. And so a lot of the time when researchers look at wild dogs, the number isn't as much of a concern as is pack numbers. So what they're trying to see is that they're having a stable number of packs. So you don't want your pack numbers to decrease heavily. You want pack numbers to stay the same or increase. Whereas actual numbers of dogs are going to fluctuate quite a lot. They're not always going to be the same every single year. As long as there's a sort of average number and that they're keeping kind of in there and that the pack numbers are remaining pretty stable, that's always a good sign. But, in this area, or in the Sabi Sands and Kruger National Park systems, wild dogs themselves, over the last 12 years, a very good friend of mine is the researcher that does all the wild dogs in this area. In fact, I was actually talking to him now before drive. He was saying that in his time as the kind of guy on the ground in this area doing the dogs, he's seen a growth in the packs and growth in the numbers of dogs, which is encouraging. It really is, and it's so much so that it's actually causing dogs now to be pushed out into the western boundaries of the Kruger system. And because dogs, much like a leopard as well, and a few others, warthogs is another one, have zero respect for fence lines, they often get out, and so there's a lot of dogs that are now starting to roam around on the western fringes of the parks, which is both a good and a bad thing. A good thing is that the population is expanding to the point where dogs are having to move into new areas, but bad because obviously wild dogs on any sort of livestock area are an absolute nightmare, and they come into contact with all kinds of domestic animals, and particularly dogs, and if those dogs aren't treated for canine distemper or rabies or something like that, these guys contract that very, very quickly. So it's dangerous to dogs to be out, and hopefully there'll be a way to kind of figure out. But ultimately with wild dogs, they range such large areas that it's very tricky to be able to kind of conserve dogs in those areas, and you have to do a lot of relocations and moving of dogs to try and kind of keep them safe. All right, well, we'll sit here, like I say, we'll be patient. I mean, they will get up soon. It's not that hot this afternoon. In the meantime, let's send you back across to Trish, see how her search is going.
Well, we have moved off Chitwa for now. And we were just having a couple issues there, and we were unsuccessful in finding Thandi and Cub. So we're now back on to Djuma, and I think we're going to, since we're on the side, go to Buffelshoek Dam and see if we can hopefully get some elephants playing in the water. I know I've been asking that since I've been back. It's just I just want elephants that are playing in the water. But I really do. So that's what we're going to look for. And speaking of elephants, I remember that I was asked a question about 2 afternoons ago, and I wasn't sure of the answer, and I hope this viewer is watching. I can't remember the viewer's name either. For some reason, Kate sticks in my head. But anyway, it was about allergies and whether animals can get allergies like us. And I did say to you that allergies are poorly understood because it's your body's histamine response, or your immune system's histamine response to something that it perceives as danger, but it's not necessarily dangerous. The short answer is yes, animals can get allergies. Oh, let's look at you, beautiful lilac-breasted roller. Let's try and knock the sun in front of you, though. Oh, never mind. We're only going to get it with the sun in front of it. Oh, behind it. Yeah, it's completely silhouetted now. It's right. You got the right place. That's not it. That's a bend in the branch. But it is there somewhere. It's just completely silhouetted. Oh, well, that's a beautiful branch right there. I think so. Yeah. Very tricky with the sun. Unless it's playing games with us and that's it there, flying away. Anyway, we're chatting about allergies, everybody. The answer is that animals can get allergies. In fact, we know that, so when we talk about animals, we're talking about domestic animals. So dogs, cats, and horses most definitely experience allergies, like we do. To a lesser extent, we experience a lot of allergies, and it's probably a result of the sanitized way of life that we have now, and that's why we say domestic animals also partially experience that sanitized form of life. There he is. Look at that lilac-breasted roller. Gorgeous. But wild animals like this roller, or elephants, which is what the question was actually specifically about, leopards, lions, anything that does not have a type of domestic relationship with us, those animals experience far less allergies. And we can only say that because it is possible that they experience allergies, but because for them survival is key, those that have allergies are less likely to survive. So if a leopard is stalking and it suddenly sneezes, it's not exactly going to be the leopard that is going to survive into its 13s to 15-year-old. Is it? Because it's not going to be well fed. So those animals will die, and then so animals with allergies are kind of weaned out of the population. I thought that was really interesting, and I hadn't gotten to answer that the last few days. That is a stunning, stunning lilac-breasted roller with no allergies, I think. Look at how the whole body moves, but the head stays very still. And that's how they're able to make sure that their eyesight, because eyesight is key, it's how they hunt, and it's how they judge the distance and their flight pattern. So look, the head is very still and the body is moving. Off it goes. And that's very important, because it means that if they can have at least a stable distance and configuration from which to judge how they're going to hunt, it is a lot better than whooshing around and that constantly changing. Anyway, I am going to head off to Buffelshoek Dam now.
As many of you know by now, one of our beloved leopard characters, Hukumuri, recently passed away. I would like to invite you to join me on Saturday the 20th of February as I take an intimate look into his life and pay tribute to the incredible cat that he was. I'm looking forward to seeing you around the fire at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time. Sometimes love wants to make you sing. And sometimes love wants to make you bow and fan your wings to your bow. For the southern yellow-billed hornbill, these are signs that love is in the air. These birds are destined for a season of monogamy at least. Breeding pairs are in it for the survival of their chicks. But before love commences, the male needs to woo his valentine with food in the form of nuptial gifts.
I'm Nikki here at andBeyond in Ngala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the WildEarth website, head across to the live safari page and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next WildEarth drive.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
There's a grounding earthiness to this place that we feel in our ancestors. It's a place where, believe it or not, we evolved as a human species, and anyone who's come to Africa will understand that. The connectivity that the continent has to the person and to people's souls is next level. I'm thoroughly looking forward to taking you on your next adventure when we explore all the small and big things.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Welcome back, everybody. We just popped down towards the local watering hole for a quick refreshing drink. We're on our way towards the west and the southwest, and we thought, let's just poke our nose in here at Leopard Dam and see what we can find. And we found a beautiful elephant bull here having a drink. We're super blessed this afternoon. Had Izawini and 5 or 6 other male elephants come to the dam at camp to have a drink. I must admit, he's a mighty impressive bull. And what I thought was very interesting, and I've never seen this before, I'd love you to ask the other guides as well, please, Jared, if they've ever seen a group of 7 or 8 big bulls, one particularly very big, and then a youngster of about maybe 5 or 6 years, a calf essentially, was with this group of bulls today. I've never seen that before. There was no breeding herd, there were no females anywhere. I didn't get the sex of the calf, but it was clearly with the uncles for a little bit of a weekend away. Maybe a Friday afternoon with the boys at the local watering hole. I'm not actually sure. But it was a fantastic thing to see. But it didn't last very long, so I didn't manage to get a photograph because he took them off. They went off again. But I've never seen elephant bulls, large elephant bulls, with a calf without any females in attendance. So I wonder if we can ask all the other guides if they've seen anything like that, because it'd be interesting to know what their thoughts are, what their feedback is. I mean, my thoughts are is that maybe it got isolated or it got a little bit confused in some form of situation, and well, those boys are just going, don't worry, young lad, we'll get you back to mum after we've finished with our busy day of swimming and drinking and whatever else it is elephant bulls get up to on a Friday afternoon. Splendid views. So it's always worth checking these watering holes because you never know. I was actually meditating outside my tent and I smelt the sweet sourness of elephants. And I looked up, and 30-40 meters away, the elephant walked straight past where we were. Our camp is very open and isolated, not isolated, but very open to the world, to the wild, which is exactly how we love it. And oh yeah, can you move to over here in front of me? We got a blue waxbill busy clipping grass right in front of the car here. You see him, he's in the bush there. We might get him. And I smelt the sweet sourness, and I looked just a little bit further to the left. Get him just left down. There he is. Oh, he's taken a bit of grass. He's gone up. There he's going to do his little display. Are you going to do your display? Where's he gone? Oh, he's gone off. He's making a nest, everybody. The blue waxbill. Got such a wonderful little display that he does. He gets himself a little inflorescence of grass. And he'll go and show a lady inflorescence and do a little dance and say, chip, 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 chip. Do you like my nest? Do you like my nest? And then obviously she chooses him as the nest builder. But so as the elephant bull disappears, and sorry about that, Johan. He's back. He's back. I knew he'd be back. He's right here in front of us again. I'm making Johan work now. So I smelt the elephant and then looked up, and there was quite a few of them. And then Iselweni coming down to drink. And what an impressive, there we go. Look at the little grass stalk he's got. Ah, what a wonderful. Now they go and make these wonderful little woven nests. He's going to come back again. And we'll just sort of stay here for a moment. They make these wonderful woven ball nests. It's not as sort of woven as you would expect, like a weaver, but just take a whole lot of grass stalks and roll them in a ball. That is the delicate nature with which the blue waxbill builds a nest. But myself personally feeling super blessed this afternoon, being out in nature, out in the raw elements, and getting in touch with myself and with the earth. And the elephant just came to say hi. He's back again. There he is. He's picking the grass stalk that's best suited. It's like going to the shop, everybody, and getting your decor. Which one? This one? No, that one? Yeah. Pulling it off. Look at the sheer force. Oh, that must require a lot of effort. Oh. I'd offer it my hand Leatherman tool, but birds are very useful at doing it on their own. There we go, it's got a stalk. Little grass inflorescence. Has it? Oh, not quite yet. Just wishes things could be a bit looser. Going out on a limb there. Got one. Yes, another one. Almost sounds like a Pink Floyd song there. Another brick in the wall. Another inflorescence in my beak. Okay, well, we're going to stay here, maybe move on a bit, see what we can find, keep on heading towards the southwest, and we're going to go over to andBeyond Phinda to say good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody, finally, and a very warm welcome to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve, where we have been trying our absolute best to get on the show this afternoon. We've been battling with signal a little bit, but it seems like we've found a spot where we do have some signal, and we've got a beautiful little bird that's hopping around in the grass, collecting some grass seeds and perhaps the odd insect that is small enough. Oh, and off it goes. Well, nice to have joined you this afternoon. My name is, and behind the camera, Simon. I say we've, there's a nice little yellow-fronted canary there, Simon, just on top of the thorn tree. Can you go all the way? No, keep going, keep going, keep going. Have you got it? Yeah, go in. On top of that one. Yeah, well done, Simon. Yeah, Simon is like a cat at the moment. He's sprawled across the seat that he's got the camera on, and he's managed to frame up that beautiful little yellow-fronted canary. So as you can see, the surrounding area, it is, he's gone. It's really windy this afternoon, and where we've been able to find animals has been quite thick areas, and so quite a tough time. But we've decided, let's just go to somewhere where we know that there is signal and see what we can find. So while we head into that area, I'm going to send you across to Tristan, who dogs it seems.
Well, while Grant is doing birding, we are watching ears every now and then pop up. In that little kind of gap between the grass is where a dog is sitting. Every now and then you see an ear moving, and you might just be able to pick it up now. There's a little dark kind of object in behind all of that grass. I mean, it's the most ridiculous visual. It's not really anything noticeable. But when they stand up, it's okay. When you see them kind of standing, this one stood briefly and then went back down again, it's much easier to be able to kind of determine that they're there. And I'm hoping that if we just show a bit of patience that we'll get it right. Everybody else has kind of come in and just left, and so if we leave here, these guys can get going and gone before anybody even knows that they were, that they have gone. So that's why I'm trying to be patient as much as possible, waiting for them to kind of stand up and get going. It's always exciting following wild dogs when they start to hunt and start to move around. They're an incredible animal when it comes to that kind of behavior. Dogs, when they are hungry and just, efficient at what they do. And if from here they push slightly northwards, there's a beautiful open clearing not too far from here where I would imagine there's going to be some impalas. And if they head there and start to hunt, it's going to be all for the good. We're going to see a lot of amazing stuff if they do. You might just be able to see the ear moving in amongst the grass there. It's not a great view, like I say, but it is a view of a wild dog. Always, like I say, special to see these guys. You were talking earlier that the number here in the park has gone up a little bit, but worldwide these dogs are under such threat that any time spent with them is a privilege in many respects. They, as an animal, have struggled in recent years. They've obviously have, as I was mentioning, a huge amount of human wildlife issues because of their large ranges and their efficiency at hunting. They don't mix well with people, and they don't mix well with domestic animals because of the way that they can contract multiple different diseases. So you've got to feel sorry for them in many respects, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of work going into conserving them. There's a lot of parks that have reintroduced dogs into big wilderness areas where they should thrive, like Mozambique and Malawi and Zambia. And so hopefully we will see a slow increase in the habitat or landscape that is wild dogs, and that they'll be around for many, many years to come. Now, the particular pack that we're looking at, I haven't even answered, is a pack that is now known as the Impala pack. It's made up of members from Auckland and Impala. There is one dog that does have a collar, so a lot of people keep calling this the Pungwe pack. It's not the Pungwe pack. The Pungwe pack is in the western Sabi Sands at the moment, somewhere close to Dulini, that side. And this is a different pack that's come in recently. They've spent the last month in Manyeleti. They've been running around there quite a lot, and of late they sort of slowly started to come southwards, and I expect them to kind of stick around here a little bit, and then if they start from here they'll start heading more east, and if they run straight east from here they eventually get back to Mbali or Hamilton's, which is the part of, or the area where they kind of, where the collar was put on and where they've come from. So when you think about it, it's pretty amazing that we're actually seeing 3 different packs in this area. So we've got the Ottawa/Sands pack, we've got this pack, and we've got the Pungwe pack that we're seeing regularly these days. Well, not regularly, but we've been seeing fairly regular sightings of them, which is pretty cool. Okay, well, we can all continue to be patient. We will hopefully get much better visuals than just an ear in the grass. In the meantime, let's send you to Steve on a bumble.
Thanks, Tristan. Good luck. An ear in the grass is still a sighting, though, everybody. That's why we recommend binoculars on game drive. Very much so. Well, we've moved on from our dam, and we might find our elephant, because I just found some very fresh elephant dung just over here. That animal has just walked here. That might have been him on the way down, in fact. Very fresh. The flies have just landed on it. How quick do the flies arrive? So it's still quite green now, but because they're feeding on a lot of grass, that will go a little bit darker in color, more black. And he's just walked straight across the road here. So we might find him. Let's see, shall we? I think he's walked across into the bush there. Let's have a look how the tracks go. Here's a beautiful young bull. Definitely a lot of elephant energy here today. He's got up that game path. Katie, they can spend a lot of time on... Oh, hello Wahlberg's eagle. You see it here, Johan, just on the tree. Katie, they can spend a lot of time on their own. They also do spend a fair amount of time chasing the females, but they definitely spend more time on their own than they do chasing females. But when they're not chasing females, they're often hanging out in small bachelor groups of males, and you'll often find really big bulls like Ilzorweni will attract lots of younger bulls that sort of learned from him, and they learn elephant etiquette from big, dominant, strong, powerful bulls. They learn where to go, they learn sort of who's in charge, and they definitely behave and don't step out of line in the presence of big bulls. It really is sort of like something that I think many people have lost, I think the elders in society is something that I'm trying to honor quite strongly. I think there's still enormous amounts of learning to be passed on from elders down. I think younger generations these days aren't really respecting the adults, and especially the elder element. Society, we're not, I don't know, it's changed. I think there definitely needs to be a shift where we need to honor the learned and the knowledge. And society needs to sort of embrace, not necessarily saying the old people, but the wise. And how do we get wisdom? Through age and experience. And we've got to honor that. We've got to surround ourselves with that so we can learn. Why make all the mistakes for ourselves when we can learn from others? The internet is out there these days, but it's not always the truth, So I try to, on Mondays, pass down information on traditional knowledge and traditional medicine, knowledge that's been garnered and passed down from generation to generation, and some of it's been written down in places, and I think it's important to share the knowledge. And in that way, elephants learn from older bulls. Females in the herd learn from the matriarch. There's no retirement for them. They stay in the herd until their final days. There for advice, they're respected and they're valued. They serve a purpose. So I think there's a lot to be embodied with regards to what happens in the animal world that I think, unfortunately, society is forgetting a lot about. We need to honor the old. Don't you agree, Johan? Honor those who came before us. So I salute all of those out there that are older than me, that have lessons to teach. Don't stop teaching. Don't stop sharing your knowledge. And all of those youngsters out there, take some time to talk to elders and see what you can learn. They've done it before. They've learned it all before. I know there's lots of new learnings that are happening and technology is blazing ahead. There's lots of very important traditional cultural things that we as people need to hold on to. And while elephants embody that beautifully.
So we have this magnificent, stunning animal who also has a streak of sunlight across him. It's just because it's actually because of my bonnet. Sorry, guys. But this magnificent creature, look at this bull, is making his way to Buffelshoek Dam. Now, I'm at the dam wall. I sat here for a few minutes and I thought, there's nothing happening. And the director said, we'll come over anyway. Not much happening, but let's have a look. And then this guy showed up. Let's just watch him. He's not terribly happy with us. This is going to be interesting, as it always is. But you saw we had a lot of distance between him and us. We also have this knob thorn between him and us. Oh, he's big. He's a big boy. And let me tell you, you don't know how big elephants are until they come close to you. I think he's going to take a turn by you, Darby.
Okay.
Yep. Look at that, guys. Look at that. Hello, you gentlemen. Did we just happen to be by the patch of vegetation you wanted? Guys, just watch and listen, because this is fabulous. He's about with his trunk on the ground, about 5 meters from us, or maybe 7 meters from us. Quite close, and you could see that earlier when you just saw us, and we were in the spot that he wanted to be in. He was displaying to us. But now he's slightly more relaxed. Not totally though. If you saw, a lot of what he was eating is falling out of his mouth. So that means that he's actually keeping a keen eye on us. While he is trying to eat, so he's not paying full attention. Oh, I wonder if you saw how careful that was. Just excuse our aerial. It's now shooting behind us. Once he just gets down to the water, he's directly behind us. Once he gets down to the water, then I'll move. But at the moment, I won't move. It's going to be a little difficult for us, but you might still be able to hear him. Oh, Davy will give it a go. That's about as good as it gets. Let's just watch this guy for a second, because he has a friend coming along. Are you going to be... It's not me. I'm already here. Here's another friend. I just thought I heard alarm calls. So let's just be quiet and listen for a little bit. I've got my eye on both elephants, so we're absolutely safe. And we're just going to listen to the water, to the pulling of the vegetation, and see if I can hear some alarm calls. Hi, big guy. I know. Big boy behind us has decided to come just a little bit closer, but Davi's fine. Just move a little bit slowly. You can see that this one is quite a bit younger. Hey, boy. That was very interesting. I am not sure if you saw what the trunk was doing there, but he touched the plants down there and he touched a poison apple. He looked like he was about to pull it, and then he obviously got these pre-digestive cues from the smell of it that's poisonous, and it didn't pull it out. Those two boys. Now they're fairly relaxed at the moment. Yep, and they're moving further in to the bush, and I don't hear any alarm calls again, so it was obviously my hopeful imagination. Yep, I think they've moved sufficiently, so we're going to turn around, get a better view of them. Hey, big boy. It's okay, yeah. All right, well, we're going to reposition and we're going to send you over to Ngala, where there's some wildebeest.
So, we've been driving around, checking all the areas, but with the lush vegetation at the moment, and after all the rain we've had, it's quite tricky to get a good view of animals, and we finally managed to get a good view of these wildebeest. And there's a few male impalas around as well. Now, you can see there's a young wildebeest off to the far left. And I thought I saw the horns starting to come out just now. But this is one that's already started changing color. I'm pretty sure that it's one of the younger wildebeest from the recent months. And have a look, you can see there's one wildebeest looking around, but most of the animals, including that impala, all of them, their heads are down at this point. And that's amazing. I normally see every now and again a few of them pick up their head. But I think this is such a good feeding spot for them. It's off on the edge of a clearing, like further in the direction that the wildebeest are facing. We have quite a large clearing with good food, and these animals are all feeding right on the edge. And that's where we see most of the general game concentrate at this point. Alex, what a very good question. Why are the baby wildebeest a different color to the adults? Now, when they are born, they're like a light brown color, and one of the theories behind that is so that they can blend in more easily. Often when we do see the young wildebeest, especially when they're really young, they'll be laying down near the adults somewhere, or they'll form little groups in the shade, and that's where they blend in much easier. Where the adults, because of the darker color, they often stick out from a distance. Now it's amazing. sounds like it might be far-fetched, but I've noticed that if you don't look carefully, you don't always notice them clearly in and amongst the herd as they blend into the colors of the bush, especially like the grasses at that time of the year when the wildebeest, at least in this area when they're born. There are some areas where the grass isn't completely green yet. And it helps them with, or it acts as camouflage. I can see the wildebeest have huddled together now, and the wind has just picked up. It's a little bit stronger than it was for most of the afternoon. It looks like they've just gone to go get a little bit of cover. And one thing you notice, and I've been noticing it today every time we've been seeing some wildebeest or zebra or impala, the ears are twitching constantly, the tails are flicking the whole time. There's a massive amount of flies around, flying insects, biting insects, because of all the standing water nearby. These animals are constantly being pestered by flies. You'll see every now and again one of their heads will turn around to try to get onto the shoulders or near the backside where they have a bit of an itch. Well, there's so many animals around at the moment, and most of them we aren't even seeing at this point. And I'm wondering if that doesn't have an effect on the wildebeest and the impala feeding for such long times with their heads down in the grass. And I think once it starts getting a little bit darker and once it starts, the sun disappears behind the mountain from where we are, the sun disappears behind the Drakensberg Mountains, and that is usually when these animals start moving out into the open. Now I can imagine that the amount of ticks in this tall grass at this point of the year must be almost unbearable. And what's interesting is when I look at these wildebeest with that late afternoon sun on their coats, I can see it. It's almost shining. They're quite active at the moment, and I think we might stick around, see if they move out into the open. In the meantime, we'll send you over to Trish with some elephants.
We've been so lucky with these two. Whew. Every single time we've approached them, they've had sufficient distance, but they've still been such gentlemen and come so close to us. And I saw the younger one, when it went out back onto the road, it stayed quite far away from us. But I'll show you when they move out of frame how close the big, massive bull came. I thought he was gonna walk straight into us. It was amazing. You know those moments. So if you look over here, you see this red bush willow there, right? This big bull walked in this path here, whereas the smaller bull went around the tree. So that was very, very close to us. That was, what a moment. And here's another very elephanty moment. They're weary of us, so they were weary of us, but not reactive or anything like that, not displaying. What a moment. A really, really big guy too. I would put the biggest bull, or the bigger of these two, I would put it into its 20s, mid-20s. It didn't look terribly old. You'll see that the width between their eyes and between their tusks get quite wide once they're in their 30s and 40s. And obviously the condition of their tusks. And also here it kind of gets pulled in because their teeth are starting to go, and then also there's these parts on their heads just above their eyes that start to get depressed when they're much older, when they're 40s and 50s. So this one I'd say was mid-20s. The younger bull, I would put it late teens, if not mid-teens. You could see he was even a lot more cautious about us than the older bull was. So we're going to keep on moving and see what other delightful surprises the bush has for us, and we're going to send you over to Steve in Prrivate.
Well, elephants will always teach you lessons, everybody, as they teach themselves lessons each day. And well, we've stopped at a tree I was talking about earlier in the drive, the umbrella thorn. And I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see the different thorns now. The light has gotten behind the clouds. But Acacia tortilis, because when it has pods, the pods make this beautiful spiral staircase, so tortilis. And subspecies heterocarpa. Now, carpa, where the name acacia comes from, means to bear thorns. So hetero meaning more than one. And you can just see it there on the branch going off to the top. You can see that there's two sharp thorns, and then there's a hooked one. So this one has got double defense against being fed upon. But as you saw, the giraffe weren't too bothered. So what this tree has gone and done as well is the shape and design of it is it still wants to maximize its photosynthetic potential by pushing branches out into a flat canopy. So there's almost nothing to be reached at for any other animal. Only the giraffe can sort of browse the very outer edge, but they can't get into the branches inside. And these branches at the bottom have been broken, eaten, or completely destroyed. So that leaves to this beautiful umbrella thorn. And the pods are delicious, everybody. They actually got a garlicky taste when you eat them, nice and fresh. Don't let them get hard, because you'll break your teeth. But when you get them fresh, it's almost like eating garlic. It's really nice. If you like garlic, that is. If you don't like garlic, well then, pew. But I quite like fresh garlic. There we go, the Acacia tortilis. Very fine leaves. A nitrogen fixer. in the fact that it has got marula bacteria in the roots that help it to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere. So it's actually benefiting the plants that you have around. A plant that I kind of touched on earlier, but a plant that does very, very well in disturbed areas. It's regarded as a pioneer, produces hundreds of seeds, really, really huge amounts of seeds. So from an animal point of view, it might not provide leaves for all of the animals, but the seed pods they drop on the ground are ridiculous. And so when times are ripe, they can really, really take over in areas that have been destroyed. Well, we're going to move on, carry on towards the west, get you some high ground for hopefully a beautiful sunset, and we're going to send you back over to andBeyond Phinda.
Welcome back, and we've managed to find some elephants. It looks like a small herd that's actually moving and feeding all around us. Well, not all around us, sorry, just up ahead of us actually. And for now I've only managed to see the big bulls. Well, there's about three that you can see at the moment. One of them being one of our really big bulls. And they seem to be feeding on grass at the moment. And you might notice how the grass has just exploded recently with the rains we've had. The grass and the bushes have almost merged into one. And it's almost at the point where I was struggling to see the road on our way here. And it's at the point where the only animals you can really see above the grass at the moment is the elephants and giraffes. But really nice to be out in the bush. It's a nice day today. We've got some good cloud cover. The sun has been poking through every now and then, so it's not too hot. And then every now and then, as the clouds come over, it cools off a little bit, and we've got some beautiful light now coming through onto these elephants. And it looks as though that one on the left, well, there's three now, so four. The furthest one on the left of your screen, he's got some yellow, it looks like yellow or whitish dust on his forehead. So he's been pushing against a fever tree. And they all appear to have quite a bit of dry mud on their bodies. Evidence that they've been to a watering hole at some stage during the day today. Caleb, who's only 8 years old, that's a really clever question from you. How many liters does an elephant drink? So Caleb, one of these big bulls that you can see here at the moment, he will be able to drink or suck up into his trunk about 15 liters at one go. And in one sitting, usually they drink between 50 and 60 liters of water. And typically in summer, they will do that twice a day. So sometimes up to 100, even more than 100 liters of water a day. And it's not an exact number that they will drink every day, but that is what they are capable of drinking. And more especially on a very hot summer's day. If you just think about yourself, how thirsty you get when it's really hot. And so on those days, these elephants will certainly drink more. But I would say on average, between 80 and 100 liters of water a day. Which, relative to their size, it's more or less It's more or less the same as us. As an adult human has to drink about 3 liters of water. You think about a big 5-ton elephant having to drink about 100 liters of water a day. And drinking water is very important for them, especially when the vegetation is quite dry. But right now, you can see how green and lush it is, and we've had lots and lots of rain, and so the vegetation is holding a lot of water in it, which will also mean that the elephants have to drink a lot less. Well, actually, I wouldn't say a lot less, but they will drink less now because the vegetation holds so much moisture. In the drier times, they actually need to drink water in order to help their body to digest all of their food.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Riverbeds are a great way to find water and look for places where elephant have excavated hollows. You can then dig into the sand, and after a couple of feet you should find damp sand, which then can be squeezed out or siphoned off for water. And with water being one of our scarcest resources, it is a good idea to conserve water where and how you can.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on WildEarth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Africa is very special, and when you come down here, even when you're watching through our camera, the landscapes have changed from desert to bushveld to up in the Masai Mara where there's grassland. That means that the biodiversity changes as we move along Africa. And what I love most about connecting with you guys is the fact that I get to share these wonderful experiences with thousands of people.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Welcome back, folks. Look at these beautiful white tufts of grass that we've just found. And actually, in fact, these tufts are actually more like a reddish shine to them that you could actually see if you look straight in towards the sun as it is. And if you look at this this beautiful grasses, this is called a Natal red top grass. And as you spoke about the trees earlier on, just to think about how important it is actually to know the environment that you are in, as it is, you actually get to know the movement of animals a bit better. But speaking of which, looking at these Natal red top, and then there's beautiful, beautiful white fluffy tufts of grasses that you can see coming through on those angles. And stunning looking at those coming through. Now the reason why I'm showing you these, and those are actually the Bushman grass. We have been, and you would have been hearing about the Bushman grass earlier as well. But just to show you a bit of a nice example between the two grasses here, seeing what they look like, You can see now, this is the Natal red top, that you can see the beautiful reddish colors coming through the bottom sections here, but actually as they get older, they lose their color and becomes white. And then you've got this being the Bushman grass with these beautiful inflorescence coming through in this section. So both of these grass species are quite of the sweet felt environment. There's a couple of more Irogrostis families here, but those are two nice good examples looking at the environment as it is in this area. And so looking at this entire area being flooded with it, actually, as you can see, as Morgan is about to show you there, over the entire plains of the section of the Kalahari, it's important to see this grass species and know what it means, because this is actually telling you, look at that, just that gorgeous area that Morgan is showing us there as well. But yeah, looking at this environment with these felt types, this is a sweet felt environment. So with this type of environment, myself and Morgan have been seeing loads of antelope and other animals that's as we've been coming down the road here. And the reason being is because of the sweet felt. Now, sweet felt environment means that you're going to see animals, I want to say 200% of the time, in areas like that. And then you get to your mixed felt environments where there's like semi-disturbance that's been coming through environments like that. And in those conditions, you could be getting animals sometimes, time to time, coming through there, which is also meaning that you could get situations like predators passing through areas like that from time to time, but not always. Sweet felt environments, you will always find lots of predators moving through there and a lot of game numbers due to the fact is just in such a good condition and of good gaining value to them. But then also you get the sour felt, which is meaning you barely find animals in conditions like that. So yeah, speaking about these different felt types, it's interesting when we've been talking about a lot of tracking events over the last couple of days as we've been going on safari. And so it's good to understand the environment that you're working in, especially if you're tracking itself, looking at a certain condition, because it could tell you also the speed at which animals will move through the different felt types, just because either I'm going to waste my energy as I'm going to go through this particular area, or this is a sweet felt area, I should take a bit slower while I go through here, because as I'm going to continue going through here, I might pick up on anything and everything that I could be potentially be hunting on. So talking about predators and their hunting motions and so on, we've literally have been finding a pride of lions this afternoon, as we just found them. They've unfortunately gone off into an area that we couldn't really view them furthermore, so we couldn't really put them on the screen for you. But yeah, we were in a similar area to what we're looking at here, but as you can look at the backdrop of the hills there, that's typically the environment that they've disappeared into. But so gorgeous. We're going to send you over to a beautiful herd of elephants.
Have a look at this big bull elephant. He's busy eating a very thorny Vegetation. And what we noticed while we were sitting here is that there's bulls, the one that Simon's going on to now, and you might just see the back of her calf sticking out above the bushes there. And that's quite fascinating that she is with this group of three. There's 4 bulls left here, and one of the original ones that we were looking at has moved off. But for this cow to be spending such a long time with the bulls is really quite interesting. We know that she's a cow if that deep. And the bull is going to probably block her off now, but if you look at her forehead, you'll see that the front of her head is really quite flat. And so there are elephants sort of spread out all around around. So we are going to try and get a look at some more of this herd. And while we do that, I'm going to send you to Trish in Djuma.
Look at this cutie. Oh, that's too cute. Look at that face. Of course, we have a much better appreciation of squirrels since our friend in camp. Our friend has also been missing for the last 36 hours. But we're hoping that means that he's out in the wild. He has been getting a lot wilder these last few days anyway. Could this be him? It's the right size, but way, way too far from camp. It's a tree squirrel, everyone. Oh, cuteness. Gosh, it does remind me a lot of him. For those of you who don't know, we had a squirrel in camp that was friends with all of us. And this one looks a lot like him. So you'll find them in tree cavities quite often, and they'll be sunning themselves. It's the last bit of sun they'll get for the day. They're small bodies. They need that warmth. Oh. That is a very, very, very sweet face, guys. Such a sweet face. If you're wondering what they eat, pretty much anything they can get their hands on. They'll try anything they can. Insects, fruit, nuts. Even bark and grass. I've always read that insects were kind of a secondary constituent to their diet. But after the squirrel in camp, I must say I think it's on the same level, primary constituent with vegetation, fruits and nuts, because he was eating all of it. They have a lot of movement in their ears as well, which I found fascinating because it's not something that you see or even think about a lot. But when you'd scratch his head or underneath his throat, on his belly, then he'd move his ears. Very, very soft in the ears. Oh, somebody's getting sleepy. Apparently everyone's going nuts about how cute he is. He is certainly very cute, and he appreciates you all going nuts for him. Wiggle, wiggle on that nose. It's too cute. Even the way his little body moves, every time his heart beats, like it gets a shock. What are you looking at, little friend? You're just looking straight at us. Oh, look at that ear move. Oh no. You gotta stay up for like another hour so you can have a good sleep. Can't get sleepy now. They have tiny, tiny little claws that just managed to sink itself into your dermis and just pull this top layer of your skin out just perfectly so it just burns, but doesn't draw blood, although he has drawn blood before. Joel, you'd like to know how long these little things live for? They live for about 5 to 8 years. Which is significant. Oh. It doesn't want to talk about how long it can live for, Joel. That is too sweet. That was so cute. We have last bits of sunlight. That's kind of nice too, because it's starting to look, you know, that golden hour, pleasant, beautiful time of day. But it also means that the darkness will soon sit upon us, and what we look for start to change, and some things become easier than others. I always find there's nothing like that. Okay, no, I always say there's nothing like, but there's the many feelings that are amazing out here. One of them being when you're spotlighting and you see just the perfect height level and distance away, distance apart of the eyes shining, and you know exactly that that's a leopard. I love that feeling. In fact, in this light, I think a leopard would be great too. Unfortunately, we can't go back to Chitwa, but well, we can look for a leopard around here, right? What's stopping us? Nothing at all. So, I'm quite sure Shidulu is on a kill in Arathusa. Tlalamba, however, was last seen in front of my room last night. Unless somebody saw her today, but I don't think so. Sorry, I was just in low range through the muddy bit. Oh, okay. Well, apparently we will be able to go back to Chitwa. So how about we have a quick look there. Hopefully we'll be able to find a Tandian cub. If not, I'm so glad to be on Djuma. And I'd be very happy to see our princess. With a chameleon, perhaps, riding on her back. That would be ideal. Lucy, you'd like to know how many species of squirrel are there in Djuma? We just have the tree squirrel in Djuma, but there is a ground squirrel, just not in Djuma. Maybe even around, but in Djuma specifically, it is the tree squirrel. Look at that. The artistic stylings of a derby. That is pretty. Very, very pretty. Nice. Very nice. You know, sometimes we may not have a whole lot of sightings, not a whole lot of excitement, or a whole lot of actual excitement happening, you know, like high energy, things like that. But there's so much beauty to be appreciated at any point out here. At any point anywhere, actually. It's just that out here it makes it, the bush and the environment makes it a little bit easier for you to just kind of accept and enjoy what's around you. Plus, I mean, between Tristan and I, we saw 4 leopards this morning, so I think we can be a little forgiving about sightings here today, or this afternoon. And let us never forget that there are always Impala to be seen. On a day when there's no Impala to be seen, that is a sad day. And with that sentence, I'm going to leave you with a brief scene of these Impala. And send you over to a larger herbivore with Steve.
Good afternoon, everybody. Well, beautiful scenes. We found a magnificent scene here with elephants and a magnificent specimen. And it's quite interesting because he, I believe, is Alweni. But there is another big bull as well here who Johan actually almost thought was him for a moment. So there's another big bull over here. There we go. Also got some impressive tusks, but the other fellow over there is definitely the one I saw. There's a little youngster. Hello. I wonder if that's the size, a little bit bigger than that. But no, a little bit bigger than that one that I saw earlier with these elephant bulls, which I thought was very interesting. It's really hard to tell though, exactly how big it was when you're looking at a monster like that. How impressive is he? How impressive is he? Okay, well, we're going to stay right here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to send you over to my good friend Tristan.
Well, we've had some success, not with the dogs, because they just weren't being any good to us at all, but with Cara, who's popped up in a tree in the most beautiful light. I'm hoping that she's going to come and lie on the branch again. There we go. And just settle down. But look at that. That light is as good as you could ask for on a leopard. And interesting to see where she's hanging around now. Obviously, that spat that she's had with Nzutini and pressure from Mom, Tiani, means that she's starting to push more into this little corner of Buffelshoek. And actually, quite frankly, there's nobody else here. Tlalamba doesn't really come this direction this far, kind of to the west. She hangs around more in Hardekwil, sort of that area. And we're right north of Sydney's Dam at the moment. So this is a little vacant spot for her if she wants to take it. She won't have the biggest territory for now because she'll be kind of sandwiched between Tlalamba and Shadulu and Nzutini. But there's a lot of space to the north as far as we know. We don't know of any other female leopards that hang around this kind of section. So it'll be good if she stays here. It'll be nice to have another relaxed cat in the area. I mean, like I say, that you can't ask for any better light than what we've got on her right now. It is the most beautiful tree that she's in, and she's just kind of staring out over the sort of western side of the reserve, looking towards sort of Manyeleti area. It's a part of the kind of reserve that we don't know very well, and we don't know how far she goes into it. I suspect that she must go into the Manyeleti. I don't think that she wouldn't. It's from where we're sitting right now is about 200 meters away, so it's very, very close. But like I say, good for us to have her in this section. The Sydney's Dam area has been quiet for quite a long time now on the leopard front. We used to see a few other cats move around this area. Mvula used to be here quite a bit, Gijima, Hokomori for a little bit. Until he started mating with Shadulu, and then he pushed a little bit further south, and we didn't see him come up this section too much. So yeah, it's nice, like I say, to have a relaxed cat up here. What's going to be interesting is what this does to this little young male that's been around, because we've had this small male that's been sort of in this area mostly, exactly where she's being seen. He's also been seen a lot, and I say a lot, I mean probably 4 or 5 times now. But I wonder if he's going to be pretty shy of a leopard like this, even though they are of similar size. She's at a much more advanced stage of her life, and given that she obviously is looking for territory, it might be quite aggressive to a young cat of that size. So it would be, I'm intrigued to see if we start to see him moving somewhere else, or if he too starts to stay in this area. I don't think so though, because she's going to start coming into heats sooner or later, which is going to attract the attention of one of the boys. And like I say, here, this section now, I mean, Mulawati theoretically could come here, Tingana could come here. I mean, Tingana does still come in this area. Other than that, I don't know of any other male leopards that roam this little section, so there might even be a gap for a big male leopard again. We know that this little Shimungwe male from Londolozi is starting to push into this area, but he's not quite of the age to really challenge for mating, right? So she's watching impalas. There's impalas walking right in front of her here, or in front of us. It's exactly what she's busy watching. I was wondering what she kind of had her head down looking at, but it's definitely the impalas that are walking along. It's the most magnificent marula that she's in. It's a pity it's kind of hiding her face a little bit. I might reposition. Got to be a little bit careful of where we drive, just given that it's still quite wet. We are on a crest. Like I say, when you see marulas, generally okay. There's the odd little terminalia that's around, so we just need to be a little careful of those. But in the meantime, we'll just kind of sit here and be patient and see whether the impalas come closer.
As many of you know by now, one of our beloved leopard characters, Hukumuri, recently passed away. I would like to invite you to join me on Saturday the 20th of February as I take an intimate look into his life and pay tribute to the incredible cat that he was. I'm looking forward to seeing you around the fire at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
So in 1998, we had this idea to go and put a live web camera on a waterhole somewhere in the Sabi sands next to the Kruger National Park. And I approached just about every single landowner and everybody thought I was completely crazy until I met Yuri and Pippa Moorman.
We thought it was definitely a fun idea and a worthwhile thing to experiment.
And it immediately became a runaway success. And it gave people all around the world the opportunity to watch a little piece of Africa day and night. Back in 1998, it was the very early stages of the internet. And all we were able to do was to get a 30-second refreshing JPEG out of that camera. But over time, what we began to do is focus more and more on trying to develop this concept of giving people the opportunity to go on safari.
Even though we live just 500 meters up this hill, we still put the camera on to see what's happening.
Absolutely, we watch it ourselves.
My name is Taylor McCurdy and I work for Eco Training. I love hearing from all of the viewers. However, I particularly enjoy those of you who have been watching for a few years. Your questions are just so advanced and they really get me thinking. If you'd like to ask a question on WildEarth, you need to register on our website. Once you've done that, head to the live safari page and submit your questions below the live feed.
The croc is still holding another one there. It's holding from the hindquarters. I would really want. The wildebeest cross, is it trying? The croc is holding the tail. It's holding tight. Oh no. Goodness me. Lucky, lucky wildebeest. You have another day to live.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
Welcome back, everybody, and well, with this beautiful scene requires absolutely no words. I'm going to just stop speaking and allow you to enjoy this for a few moments. Yes, Pentacle, we are truly blessed. Beautiful colours, gorgeous animals. Just smashing all of these forbs, perennial weeds, many people would call them. Lucy, I'm not sure, but then Pryden's is open to the Kruger, so any of them can come through. Any of them can come through. There's been lots of activity of elephants around. You see lots of movement and tracks. I've seen a few bulls around camp this morning, and then a breeding herd the other night, also in the same area. And I've had brief visuals of breeding herds over the last couple of days, but this is my first time actually coming down to this part of the reserve on the southwestern side. We're actually very close to camp, but we park this vehicle on the other side of the reserve. So I haven't actually gotten here on game drive yet, but I'm definitely going to come explore this area again. Open area with its nutrient-rich forbs and herbs being devoured by these elephant. This is an area called a zebra clearing or zebra plains. Make an over no. If anything, the tusks might wear down slightly, but there's no shrinking. The ivory is very strong, very powerful material. If anything, it's constantly growing in the life of the elephant. Some just have bigger sort of tusks than others. It's a genetic sort of thing. Truly blessed to be in the presence of giants. You can't necessarily age an elephant by its tusks, but they do grow. But it's a genetic thing. So you can't say because an elephant's got small tusks to a young elephant. Big tusks are definitely a genetic trait, but the bigger they are, generally you can look at age. But some young elephants have got enormous tusks, and those are only going to get better with time. Or bigger. This, for example, is a very impressive fellow. Whatever his name might be. It's probably got a name. What do you think his name is, Johan? Definitely not Bob. Bob, I wouldn't say it's Bob. Not to offend any of you out there that might be named Bob. Andrew, well, normally if you talk about a herd, you talk about a breeding herd, and the largest female is generally the matriarch. But when you look at bulls, the largest and most impressive bull is generally sort of the leader that they all follow. He's the kind of guy who everybody aspires to be. He's the one who's been around the longest, and he's the one they all look up to. So this fellow is a big boy. He's definitely in his 40s, maybe late 30s, 40s. He's a big boy. But he's not as impressive as Tswalu, who's moved off into the thickets, of course. He's not playing with us in this beautiful light. It's definitely the same group that came down to the water today. And they probably just took one of the little youngsters with them and then returned it to the herd unharmed. A nice outing with the boys. Well, I can't think of a better thing to be doing right now, Johan, could you? Not at all. I'd love for you all to send through a one-word tweet about how scenes like this, beautiful skies and beautiful animals, how it makes you feel, how it would make you feel to be sitting right here in the presence of these gentle giants under a beautiful African sky, an enormous African sky with some magnificent textures. It's an artist's dream. And to sit in silence with them as you just hear them eat. It's actually nice to be giving this gentleman some attention because, I mean, Tswalu is the biggest and he seems to get all the attention that we don't get a bull. And I haven't seen a bull in Djuma bigger than this fellow that we've just seen now, maybe equivalent to him. There is another bull, and behind him you can just see the back of Tswalu. He's in the back there. He might come out for another view. We do have another vehicle that's come to join us, and I was saying that in that they didn't really look at this fellow. They just went straight over to the big fellow. Bliss, Ruth, bliss indeed. Bliss. Oh, he's going to make some space. He's hiding. He's being very camera shy today. There he is in the back, just over his shoulder. Blessed, Anna. Oh, I love that word. I'm feeling very blessed these days. This fellow's deciding he wants to come back into frame. So come on, frame me. I want to be on camera today. Stop looking at Tswalu all the time. There he is. Okay, everybody. Well, we are not going anywhere, and we're going to send you over to Tristan with Cara.
Just like Steve, we're also not going anywhere. We've got the most beautiful view of this leopard up in the tree. You can see the sun just starting to show some colors behind it at the moment. So it's the perfect kind of time of day. The good news is that she will be here tomorrow as well, because she has a kill in this tree. So if you look just to the right of where she is right now, kind of up on top there's a little piece in the middle of that foliage that almost looks like a branch, but that is a male steenbok that is hanging there. Now that kill must have been made during the day today. So when she was chased by the dogs, if she had had that kill, the dogs would have found it and eaten it. And you can see it's pretty much whole. There's really not much that has been eaten off of that kill. So I expect her to still be here tomorrow morning. She, in all likelihood, will eat most of it, and tomorrow will kind of just finish it up. But nice to see. I mean, it's really cool that we're going to have her at least for another drive, and we'll make 3 drives in a row. I don't think we've ever had 3 drives in a row of Cara. And she's normally kind of the shyer of the relaxed leopards that we have. We see a lot more of her mom than of her. Somebody was telling me the other day that she was acting very skittish of late, and she certainly isn't that way today. I mean, she's absolutely as relaxed as one could ask for. You might hear a child in the background as some of the landowners are in the sighting, so you know, it's for me it's always a good thing to actually sometimes have children around, and you can see it's not disturbing her too much. The parents are obviously trying to keep their child as quiet as possible, but children being exposed to nature early on in life is a very good thing. They learn a lot of valuable lessons, and they obviously get a situation where they are able to kind of experience things that hopefully will grant them a deeper understanding and a love for nature that they'll carry forward with them in life. So it's a good thing that children go on safaris. It's I know some of our other presenters that are here, particularly Taylor, she loves taking kids on safari. She finds their minds and the way that they work and the questions that they ask absolutely fascinating. It's an interesting thing when you have kids because you know, kids on safari, a leopard to them is a leopard, but you find a frog or a snail or a millipede, and that's the coolest thing that you've ever seen. So I always enjoy it because they tend to be much more focused on the small things, and anything that's got colors and moves funny tends to be a hit rather than just the big animals. Obviously, you know, the older they get, the more they appreciate the larger creatures out here, but it's amazing how smaller things give them joy as well. All right, well, we'll sit here and we'll see if she maybe starts to feed. I'm not going to head back to the dogs now. It's gotten a little bit late for them. But we have a really nice sighting of her, so we'll just be patient. In the meantime, though, let's send you to Grant at Phinda.
Look at this. There is a European roller, and it's caught an enormous katydid. And it's busy shuffling it into position. Every now and then there's a kick and a wiggle and a bit of movement out of the katydid. Oh no! Mean roller. I think it's because I started speaking. Do you see where he landed, Tswa? No. Oh, sorry. So he managed to, that roller managed to catch the katydid, and then it, for the last few minutes, was busy knocking it against a stick, and every now and then the katydid would wiggle a little bit, and then he would knock again and wait, trying to decide if he was ready to try and swallow that katydid yet. But it seems as though he was not ready yet. So we have been battling with signal, as you might know. You haven't seen us too much, but we are still out and about. We're still looking. So while we look for something else, I'm going to send you across to Trishala again.
Oh, bro.
We are at the Chitwa Dam, and everything is very pink. It's like cotton candy. It's gorgeous, and this very old Duggar boy, old buffalo bull, is enjoying himself all the way on the far end of Chitwa Dam, which is why he's so small. But look at that pink. It's stunning. You can hear the guinea fowl in the background. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's it. Just enjoy this for a moment. I will tell you, however, that I am following up or checking up on Thandi and Cub. But that doesn't mean that we can't enjoy a pleasant moment here. So often when we enjoy a quiet moment somewhere, animals that we're looking for come walking by, like we saw with the elephant. So let's enjoy ourselves with this beautiful scene at Chitwa. This is a really, really, really stunning evening and sunset. Now, a bit of an update. Thandi and Cub have moved from the spot that we thought them to be in, because at this time they would definitely be out and about. So it's just a matter of finding out where they have gone. So we'll spend some time driving around Chitwa, see if we can pick up on any tracks while there's still some light. Look at how peaceful this bull looks. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We are not the only place experiencing this stunning sunset. So is Ngala.
Talking about a stunning sunset, just have a look at those beautiful pink colors that we're seeing here on Ngala now, over the Timbavati riverbed. And far off I can hear some southern ground hornbills calling. Perfect time of the day to just sit and have a listen out and enjoy the beautiful scenery in the bush. You can see even the Timavatis just slowly flowing down. The last of the sun's rays are falling on the clouds on that side, creating that pink color, and there the sun's going down. Sarah, it certainly does look like a painting. It is unbelievably beautiful. There's a little terrapin coming down to a puddle near us. It's cooled down slightly now, but it's still extremely hot here, and it's very, very humid. And with that humidity and all of this water at the moment, we're experiencing a massive increase in flying things like mosquitoes. And I think we're going to sit here a little while longer and listen out to hear if we might find any, or might hear any calls of nocturnal animals.
Hi, I'm Sue. I am from South Africa and I'm the incredibly lucky winner of the Tswalu competition. Tswalu has so much to offer, but we're really looking forward to the game viewing options, as going out with a personal guide who has so much knowledge will just be exceptional. Motsi Lodge looks absolutely amazing and we're so looking forward to spending time there. It really is out of this world. I only registered as an explorer towards the end of January, so when the email arrived stating that I was the winner, it took me totally by surprise. I'd just like to thank WildEarth and Tswalu for this most incredible prize. It really is a dream come true.
WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
The reason why we see that wildebeest by himself is because he's a male, or a bull, as we typically would call him. And what he does is that he marks and defends an area. Essentially, he is looking for the ultimate piece of land or prime property. Needs to have good grazing, needs to have a water source close by. And not too far away from here, there's a sickle bush thicket that would provide just enough shelter from the wind and the rain.
My name is Lauren and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that is truly, truly magical.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
A beautiful, beautiful moon. We've just moved a little off from the dam wall to have a look at the stunning moon. There was some pink all around it. And then, you know, we sat and we said, let's just wait peacefully and see what happens. And then something beautiful happened. And it wasn't just the moon. If we had not moved here to get you guys a picture hopefully it'll come back.
Hello everybody, sorry about that. We lost our light. We're in the infrared spectrum. We're still with this beautiful group of elephants. There's a number of females all joining, and Ilzaweni is in full must, but he is so relaxed. It is such a splendid sight. There he is, you can see, with potentially a lady he's trying to court. He's having a very nice little candlelit dinner there with her. See the size difference, incredible, isn't it? Wonder how many of these youngsters are actually his. It's a little bit far off for the light. Okay, well, we're going to try go back over to Trish and see what she's got.
Sorry.
Well, sorry about that, everybody. We do apologize for any technical difficulties that we are experiencing out there. You're back with us and with our whole herd of elephants. I'm trying to count them all. They're on either side of us now. There's more than 15 at least. Number of big bulls, number of females, and I must admit this is the most I've ever seen an elephant bull in full must eating. And often very busy, often very on the move. I suppose he's learned there's no rush. No one's going to try to compete with them. Just eat with the females until they're receptive, I suppose. Point chasing them around. See the thickness difference. Females don't need their tusks for fighting, and small stabbing ones like what she has is very effective for gouging in the bark and for defending her youngsters against anything else. Big powerful tusks like what he's got. Very, very useful weapons. Oh, he's gonna shake it. He's going to shake it. Oh, he's going to do more than shake it. That tree's going over, everybody. Power. That marula had no chance. Okay. There we go. Always amazes me how I'm going to just move back because I think we're a little bit too far for the light. How when elephants push over a tree, they all sort of come a-running. They all want access to the tree that's been pushed over, and it's only really the big bulls that are able to do so. Literally got elephants everywhere. How's that, Johan? There we go. Yeah, back to infrared. Now everybody, there's a fully grown tree that he just pushed over as if it was nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now that's how you feed on all of the marula fruits in a tree. If indeed that does even have fruits. I don't even see any fruits on it. But this fellow here wants to be, once again, center stage. Doesn't want us to see the feeding attempt of his Oweni behind, but that's okay. You kind of see both. Very relaxed group of elephants here, everybody. Very relaxed, very easy to see, and just by the behavior of them all, just feeding. Not at all concerned by our presence. Mark, I agree with you, and even this fellow here has got incredible tusks. But Oweni has got enormous tusks, which he didn't really need for the pushing over of the tree. He just put his weight into it. You really are a camera hogger, aren't you? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm going to move out of the way now so you can see the big fellow behind me. There we go. No, I'm going to come right up to the car and maybe even touch the bonnet. What are you going to do here? Are you going to touch my bonnet? No, not going to touch my bonnet. You wanted to. He wanted to. He's just letting me know that he knows I'm here. Now, facilitation that elephants create by being able to push over tall trees allows all sorts of other animals to feed on the tree, including other elephants. Obviously, the tree doesn't like it very much, but there's nothing you can do when a bulldozer comes to town. I think that light's just a little bit too far off. Let's go to these two fellows that are right next to us here. There's a big bum. And hello. Oh, goodness. You fellows are right here. Yep, they're right here. They're not concerned at all by us. I wonder if they want to say hello. Do you want to say hello? Want to say hello? I don't have any peanuts. I would never feed them peanuts, everybody. I don't even know where that comes from. Peanuts. Do people feed elephants peanuts? It seems to be that sort of thing. You know, growing up, everyone spoke about peanuts. For elephants, they like green grass and vegetation. Maybe they like peanuts. I don't know. These fellows are loving all these forbs, herbaceous herbs. Surrounded by this sweet smell. This is the smell that I got earlier when I was meditating. They walked past me. And it was a very, very strong, sweet, composty smell. I can't try to explain it before to everybody. The sort of decomposing sweetness you get from a compost heap. Not bothered in the slightest, are you, elephants? Are you going to back up and push your friend in the face with your bottom? Yes. Definitely not giving each other much room for feeding. I want to feed right where you're standing. Bull, they don't eat tons. An elephant bull of probably Zolweni's size probably feeds on about 300, maybe 350 kilograms of wet food. I say wet because if you dried it, it would weigh a lot less. The moisture obviously gives it a lot of weight. So wet food. What's the wrong, boys? Why are you behaving right like that right in front of me, eh? Yes, he's going to put his bum in his face. This is a bit of submissive behavior going on from the one on the right. Sorry about my head, everybody. They are so close, it's very hard to keep out of the way. So 300 or so kilograms. So tons is a lot of food. A lot of food, a ton. But definitely during the month, they get through that. 300 a day per big elephant. Females obviously eat a lot less, but they acquire a little bit more quality. Whereas the big boys don't require the quality necessarily, although they will take it when it's available. Like now, these elephants are just feeding again and again. Garbage bag after garbage bag of green vegetation, just shoveling it into their mouths. The softest and juiciest and tastiest green vegetation that they can get. Well, Pridelands, it's very nice to be here. Don't you think, Johan? Beautiful. Beautiful. We are truly blessed, everybody. Truly blessed this Friday afternoon. So many other things we could be doing, but I choose this. I smell lion poo. I wonder why I smell lion poo where I am. Maybe I'm parked in some lion poo. It's very likely. I think quite like the smell of lion poo, everybody, that I do know it quite well. The elephants didn't react to it, which means it's not that fresh, but it becomes a bit fresh when you ride in it and it cracks open a bit. Okay, well, we're losing a little bit of light with our elephants, so we might move on and see what else we can find in the darkness. And while we do that, we're going to send you over to Tswalu Kalahari.
Welcome back, folks, to this gorgeous view that we're literally having right now. Yo, that's rather a very uncomfortable smell that Steve is talking about there, driving over Lion's Cat. But yeah, very cool seeing that this beautiful sable antelope belonging to this ecosystem indirectly as well. Why do I say indirectly? There's a few odd species of them that leaped into this part of the Kalahari at certain times, many years ago. See, the thing is that sable do survive quite fairly well actually in the Kalahari as well, because they are arid antelope specimens. I'm actually just gonna pull a tiny bit forward, see if we can just get a bit of a better view there on him, just as he looks a bit more in a situation where he pulled in behind the bush there. He might actually even continue coming backwards out towards the edge of the bush here. There's a lovely Wildebeest male that's joining the sable here. Okay, he's going to come out walking out again from the edge of the bush. So the thing is, as I was saying, a few days ago, I was talking about how different antelope species belongs to different tribal family units to describe the bodies and everything and who they are. So to come back to the Hippotryggene tribe that these guys belong to, it's quite important actually thinking about who they are and what they are, because that Hippotryggene tribe is actually saying horse-like arid antelope family, as we spoke about it a few days ago. So talking about the coloration in the face, who are the Hippotryggenists? You're looking at oryx, roan and sable. And so sable are actually indirectly desert antelope because they belong to that dry arid antelope family as it is. But so sable, there's a few odd ones that came into this northwestern corner of South Africa, into the Kalahari ecosystem as it is. But yeah, you can see this guy is also walking very happily, walking through the sweet veld environment, as we spoke about it earlier. So as you look at the white belly belonging to that tribal family, the white belly, again, like a lot of desert antelope, is reflecting quite a lot of sunlight that reflects from the ground, that comes up from the sky. So obviously, as we mentioned it also a few days ago, talking about how hot the sands can become, and how the light, sharp light intensity could actually come and reflect from the surfaces back up into the sky, gets to a point that white belly is then reflecting that heat back into the ground. And even around the face, having the great amount of white colors coming out there, it literally gets to a point that they would then reflect and keep the sunlight out of their faces as well in that formation. But such a stunning, gorgeous, dark, pitch black stallion of the Kalahari, if I can put it that way. So yeah, they're really special antelope. The differences though are of the sable, that for those of you that haven't seen them before, you'll see the horns bends like quite a bend far backwards, almost onto the backbone. And then you get basically where you'll have the roan antelope, halfway the bend. And then you'll have obviously the oryx antelope, which is the main predominant antelope of this ecosystem, which you will find with the beautiful sharp straight horns as it comes through. But yeah, stunning to see a sable antelope actually in this environment, in this particular environment, obviously coming through between. They're actually quite an animal that hangs out between the mountains, the valley sections in between, and then up until the dune fields formations and so on. But yeah, gorgeous to see them varying, even from the tip tops of mountains all the way into the plains as it is. We're going to take you over to Trish and Djuma.
Yay, I hope you can stick with me a little longer this time. We are looking for Thandi and Cub. So the area that they moved into after we were showing you the moon, they were right there underneath the tree. And then they moved into an area that I couldn't drive. I tried to get in, but it was just way too wet. So they were moving up in this direction towards the north. So now I'm on this road trying to just try and pick out the eyes in the darkness. Was one of those perfect moments where, you know, we were sitting and just waiting, just enjoying, and they popped up. So that was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm seeing car headlights in the distance and thinking it's leopard eyes. It's not very helpful. Unfortunately, in this grass, in this darkness right now, I fear that our chances of finding her and Maribs is low. Nevertheless, we wouldn't know until we try, right? So we have to try. The sky is still beautiful.
You're coming.
Turn down my game drive radio there. I think they may hunt tonight, so maybe in the morning there's the promise to find them. Oh no, that's an interesting question. You'd like to know if big cats are resilient to ticks that may carry disease. Not just big cats, but wild animals in general are resilient to lots of viruses, infections, diseases, bacteria, because they're constantly exposed to them. And if there was some parasite in a tick that was killing off big cats, then big cats would have gone extinct. But obviously there's some kind of resilience for them to still exist. Specifically, I don't know, but biologically and scientifically, my knowledge tells me that has to be the case, especially if you're thinking about it in comparison to humans and our resilience. Okay. How I was hoping. I think I just want to turn around here and go back on that road one more time because they were moving in that direction. And hopefully they'll pop out for at least a view, which would be great. Okay. Let's do it. This is the round. This is the round that we're going to see our beautiful Thandi and Maribs. What do you say? The more people that say yes, the more likely it is to happen. That also is a scientific proof, I must say. Jared just came on the radio and said, yes, thank you. Yes, we're going to see them. We're going to see them. We're going to see them. You guys, I don't even want to tell you about the time when we just saw them, because then it's just like telling you about, it's like telling a kid about all the great things, all the great candy I ate while you were at work, while you were at school. I'm just gonna move over to the side here so I can let a vehicle pass. But unfortunately, still no sign of anything. I guess they're also looking around. But nothing. We are in the total darkness. Well, almost, apart from the paintings in the sky. Okay, vehicle has passed us, and I am now going to send you over to Tswalu, who is a little bit lighter than we are.
Welcome back, folks. So from that stable, we literally just take a drive down the road. Just to see if we can pick up on any possibilities on any nocturnal activities coming through in these areas as we go down the road between the area. Well, we are in the area between the mountains and the dune fields at the moment. So shortly we're going to be turning a bit to the west towards the dunes. And on this drive, just checking to see if we can't get any signals and signs of any nocturnal life furthermore as we go. Look at that gorgeous sunset just coming out there. Susie, you asking if sable antelope are they only found in the Kalahari? And Susie, you know what? They occur actually quite a bit towards Zambia, Zimbabwe, those areas as well, and then sections of northern Kruger. You'll find them in some of those areas. And then areas where they were found alongside with the roan antelope was this northwestern corner of South Africa, as it is actually. So the thing is, you do find them not just over here in different areas scattered out over certain sections, but Zambia, Zimbabwe, those areas as well as it comes through. It's a gorgeous antelope that's like specified to certain areas as it is, and that is why you don't see them every time on safari unless you go to those specific regions as it is in Africa. Don't know if you guys are getting that beautiful, gorgeous light on the horizon as the Kalahari is greeting us good evening and to a night time. The beautiful lights coming through there. It's quite a bit of a ripple effect on the road actually coming through here as we come through. Some of the sands of the Kalahari pick up quite a bit on corrugation sometimes. Lucy, you're asking how many different types of grass species are there in the Kalahari? Now that is a fantastic question. I can assure you there is well over 30 to 40 different species. It's crazy actually thinking about how many different species are there. But again, if you start talking about divisions of sweet veld, sour veld, mixed veld, each and every one of those divisions have got their own types of type of species of grasses that you find there. But yeah, it's quite a lot actually. There's and that on the other hand gives us the availability to so many different other species of, well, such a big diversity of different species of antelope coming through the dune fields, especially to the mountains and so on. And obviously it doesn't just stop there. I mean, it goes to the well, the typical bush and tree life that you find in areas like this, and over the whole ecosystem of the Green Kalahari as it is. And so that alongside with that, again, it comes down to the amount of predators as well as the smaller amount of life that you get in the Kalahari. It's really special. It's incredible the combinations that it creates actually, if you think about it, how much it comes through to the amount of life that the Kalahari actually presents. Well, the amount of life that the Kalahari can provide to animals and all organisms that lives in this environment. It's really special. So in this area that we're driving in, speaking of which about the different types of vegetation, oh, there's a little steenbokkie that just bolted off there, but yeah, we're not going to get that guy on the camera. He's gone off into the bush. Yeah, so coming back to those type of grass species as well as the plant life we find in a typical area that we're driving in right now. It is a fantastic area for termites and ants to be active within this environment. So it typically comes down to that you could get to a point where we could get some aardvark. This time of the day we could get potentially some of the aardwolf. Myself and Morgan were very lucky that one evening when we came back from the dogs in the west, we came across an aardwolf, but it was after dark already, but the temperatures were very similar to what we're having right now, and the conditions are looking good. So we're keeping our eyes open for those aardwolf. which is actually the third member of the hyena families in South Africa. As you obviously get the spotted hyena to the brown hyena, and the two species of the three in South Africa that does really well out here is obviously the aardwolf and the brown hyena, as it is. But yeah, we're keeping our eyes open as we're driving through this area, as we could get to a possibility of one of those sightings in this area. So, just to highlight a bit, yeah, we're going to send you over quickly to Tristan.
Well, it's been an interesting and fascinating scenario that's taken place here. We've had this leopard up the tree, which has a steenbok, and unfortunately one of the vehicles got stuck, so we were kind of getting everybody out and sorting everything out, and the sighting for the leopard is now closed. But these hyenas have found an impala carcass right next to the tree somehow. I have no idea if she killed it or if these guys just killed it right now, but they've just started feasting on this impala ram, and there was impala rams close by to the tree, and we know that hyenas do hunt for themselves at times, so I'm not sure if they killed it. We were busy with vehicles and we didn't see anything. We just heard the noise of them starting to feed, and I thought at first it was a second leopard that had showed up because there was grumbles and growls, but maybe she had two kills and she hadn't been able to get the strength to tree this one, and they've taken it, or like I say, they've hunted it for themselves. I haven't even looked into which hyenas it is yet. We're in an area where it's fairly wet, and like I say, we don't want to spend too much time kind of hanging around in this section. But these hyenas have got themselves a good meal. They're already full before they got this. I can't see that they would have killed it without us hearing, though. I thought we would have definitely heard some sort of a noise. I would have thought that there was going to be, sound and of a dying impala, but there was definitely noise from these guys, that's for sure. Crazy though, what an afternoon. Dogs, leopard up a tree, hyenas on a kill. It's kind of all happening this afternoon, and even with the amount of rain and the torrential downpours that we've had, it's been quite something. Game viewing has really gotten much better, and just in time too, because it seems like another tropical storm is just on the verge of hitting Mozambique now, but they're saying that one's going to turn more south and back east out into the ocean rather than towards us. Just stopping and listening to the sound of these guys, but I don't think we're going to see that storm hitting us at this stage. I think we're going to find that it's going to kind of move southwards. And these guys are just looking at, all the commotion of feeding might attract more hyenas. You might get an interaction between them. What's interesting is one of the guys that's from Manyeleti that works at one of the lodges there is just telling us that there's a den site. Funny enough, just inside of this this portion of Manyeleti. So I don't know if these are part of the Djuma clan or of that clan, but you can see the subordinate behavior from that hyena. You heard how it was growling, and it kind of just cowered down. When it's subordinate, it's going to just drop its head and try and not attract too much attention to itself, otherwise it's going to get a bit of a hiding. It looks like 4 of them in total, but the carcass has been dragged by one of them. I don't think there's much left there. There might be just some internal organs that they're going to shake off and kind of finish up. Quiet now. I can hear them crunching a little bit further away. But like I say, this area we're going to have to kind of close this off. It's not going to be available tomorrow morning to us. It's too wet in this section, and It's just damaging the area. So we'll close it off, and then unfortunately we'll try and see if we can get a view of Kara tomorrow morning from the road itself. It's quite a long way into the bush, so seeing her from the road is near impossible. But we'll try. Sighting itself. There's one with a funny ear. Is that? I was wondering. Can't see nicely. The ear was bent over slightly. It's difficult. I mean, we can't see a thing. Obviously, the infrared allows us to be able to see things because of the wavelength of light. But for us, it's pitch black, so identifying hyenas in this is near impossible. Can't see a single thing, really. You guys at home will be able to help us out. I know many of you are very good with hyenas. I'm sure you'll be able to work out who is who. See that they just around. Alright, we'll sit here for a little bit and just see if any other hyenas come in, but it's an epic way to be finishing off our evening tonight.
As many of you know by now, one of our beloved leopard characters, Hukumuri, recently passed away. I would like to invite you to join me on Saturday the 20th of February as I take an intimate look into his life and pay tribute to the incredible cat that he was. I'm looking forward to seeing you around the fire at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
Our bodies are made up of about 60% water, which means that in a very short space of time, you can dehydrate completely. A relatively efficient way of collecting water early in the morning is to take an absorbent material like a sock and to walk through the grass, absorbing the condensed dewdrops on the grass. Once the material is saturated, you can then squeeze it out into a container, or you can suck it out directly into your mouth.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at WildEarth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you're going to have to register on the website, but once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
What makes andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve so special is our massive array of habitats. And with that comes, of course, a beautiful diversity of landscapes, but also an incredible biodiversity in terms of plants, bird life and animal life, as well as, of course, our conservation success stories with cheetah, with rhinos, now with pangolins too.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Well, if it doesn't stop at hyenas and leopards with kills, we now have a Verreaux's eagle owl. So unfortunately, the hyenas picked up the carcass and went towards the Manyeleti, so it must be that clan that's denning that side. And it's too wet to even follow anywhere near where they're going. So we kind of just came back towards the road, and this Verreaux's eagle owl is sitting so elegantly for us, which is a wonderful thing. We've seen a lot of owls lately. It's been really nice. Lots of spotted eagle owls around. These guys have been fairly prominent as well. This morning I had a little pearl spotted owlet briefly. So the owls seem to be taking advantage of the plethora of food that is available, from frogs to various insects and other things. In the case of pearl spotted owlets, I mean, they'll be doing birds mostly. But there's even migratory little birds like quellias that are around that they can go after. So there's a lot of food for the various species at the moment, and that's maybe why we're seeing a lot of them. I'm surprised though, because with the way that the trees are foliated at the moment, normally it's quite tricky to spot owls. So you don't normally get great visuals of them at this time of the year, but I suppose when you look hard enough, you'll find them where you need to. You also hear those frogs in the background as well. An amazing end to our afternoon. It'd be really cool if this owl starts to call for us. That would make my evening. I love their call. They've got a very deep, hollow call. It's very owl-like. If you had to kind of write a book and script owl calls, their call would be something that you would kind of use for owls. A lot of you are commenting on how loud the frogs are. Special, isn't it? Sometimes it's good just at the end of the evening just to take it easy, and when we've got a beautiful view of an owl, and the frogs are just absolutely insane, and we're not even close to them. They're at Sydney's Dam, which is probably a good 20 meters from where we are. It gives you an idea of just how loud they are. An epic afternoon in many respects. So in between everybody that's had amazing views of different kind of wildlife. I think there's been something for everyone this afternoon. You know, often we talk about it, but there's been, by the sounds of things, a few birds, insects. We've had all of the kind of big predators around. We've had elephants. So it's been a very, very, very good summer's afternoon, and the light for sunset was pretty special too. I think we got spoiled today. Not every day is like this. It makes you appreciate them after the kind of rough few days that we had prior to this with all the wind and the rain. Anyway, it's that time of the evening where we're going to say goodnight and goodbye to all of you. Hope that you had a wonderful day or afternoon safari with us, and wherever you may be, I hope that you have a wonderful day or evening. From all of us, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning on our sunrise safari.